settled in, find a place to sit, we will have you to sign the sign-in sheet so we'll know who all's here so we can say thank you. And I had to adjust my height. Okay. All right. We don't have to look for the crate anymore. I got my own stool that's gonna be here. All right. Okay. You know, I see why the Silicon Bank crashed. Because there's a whole lot of stuff that this stuff need done. It just don't want to work right. Yeah, come here a minute. Oh, I got it. I got it. See, just when, but glad I got you on hand. Okay, you know what? We comrades stick together. All right. My favorite saying is that you can hit somebody with a finger and hurt yourself. But you put that fist together with unity and you got a force. Uhuru. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming to this special event. This is the fundraiser for the Hands Off Uhuru Legal Defense Fund. Okay. Now, as you may know, if you have come across me, you know that the FBI had the nerve to attack our party and threaten our leadership. But everybody that I tell that to, they say, sounds like they attacked the wrong people. I said, right. And I didn't say it nicely. I said nice. Right. Meet the Uhuru Legal Team, featuring the attorneys who are representing Chairman Omali and Uhuru leadership that was targeted by the FBI. But see, what they don't know, we are all unindicted conspirators. Uhuru! We will start with the African fight song. Okay. Please stand. It's on the back of your program. Is it gonna be up there? Yeah, it's gonna be up there. Okay, Comrade Alikia is coming on. She is the creator of this wonderful piece that is our African fight song. Okay.
Independent and free is what we will be. We are winning. Africa will bask in our victory. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom to organization. Socialist world, our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning.
I want to introduce you to my little singing partner. Her name is Nova Brown. This is Nova. Now, I want to bring to you Mr. Kelly Wembley. He is a CEO of Open Source IT, master energy worker, and a wonderful percussionist.
All right. I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything or not, but I appreciate being here, enjoying the energy. I'm looking forward to learning more about what the organization is about. Right on. Asked my assistant. Let me come here. I was asked my sister 4 feet to be here, and I've known her for 20 years. And I know if she's into it, it's got to be real. Yeah. There.
Do you need a mic?
I don't need one. So I won't say I'm necessarily a master energy worker, but I've been at it a long time. I know that I'm not a master drummer, but I've learned from masters. Right on. So and I know I'm constantly a student, you know, for the rest of my life, as well as I'm sure everyone else is here too. Right. But I will give the best of what I have to offer today.
Kelly is also a teacher.
That's it, yeah. I do wear many hats, and as I was speaking with the chairman here, that is called Black in America. So I'm originally from East St. Louis, and in East St. Louis, the djembe hit there first before it hit St. Louis. Okay. And many of the percussionists here in St. Louis wind up learning how to play djembe style on congas. Okay. First, because those were the drums that were available. Right. So I'm going to do a rhythm that I do pretty often, and it was the first one that I learned, and it was for Oshun, the energy of Oshun in the Yoruba pantheon of in terms of the aspect of the creator. And that represents this river over here, which we look at as the new and the old Nile for this part of the world. And with that energy, it's used for sustenance, for travel, for bringing people together, which is what this is about. So I'm gonna start with a basic rhythm, and it was the first rhythm that I learned. And one of my instructors, who Thadi Teddy, my instructor, first teacher. And I see, you know who he is, and his energy. And this is the first rhythm that he taught me, so I'm gonna start with it.
Good stuff, Mike. Good stuff.
Thank you. You know, having melanin is a richness in being African. And with that richness, we can claim the whole world. We just don't know it, but we do know it. Just let it out. Join the Uhuru Movement. All right, next, comrades, we're going to watch the hands-off video.
This is the FBI. You have a federal warrant for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant for...
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You breach? What do you need?
They want.
I don't know.
Oh, it's all better than money.
All
Don't take it.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands off the Uhuru Movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
Africans all over the world felt those drums and that percussion, and that we continue to spread this campaign far and wide. So we have the opportunity, a very rare and special opportunity today, to hear from all 4 of the individuals who were named in these bogus indictments on July 29th. I have the honor of bringing up members of our movement. I'm going to introduce Director Akile Anayi, and I'll just say your name so you don't have to get up just yet. But I do want to introduce Director Akile Anayi, who is a leading member of our organization. Director Akile leads the Department of Agitation and Propaganda for the African People's Socialist Party. She is a fierce leader. Many of you who may have been here yesterday would have had the chance to hear her very profound presentation, as well as I want to also acknowledge who will also be here as the chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee, Penny Hess, as well as Chair Jesse Neville, who is the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. So we're going to take a moment to hear from our brief presentations from our unindicted co-conspirators. So I want to begin by introducing Akile Anayi, who is the 26-year-old editor of the Burning Spear newspaper, which you can find right back there on the table. She is the director, again, of the African People's Socialist Party media and communications work. And she's the former St. Petersburg, Florida City Council candidate and featured in Ebony magazine as the Millennial of Change, which you will find out why. All right. So, all right, Uhuru comrade, let's give a warm welcome to Director Akile Anayi. Fight back! Fight back! There we go.
All right, comrade. Uhuru, I might need that. I'm just kidding.
Make fun.
Uhuru. Okay. Hands off Uhuru! Hands off Uhuru! Uhuru comrades, I just first want to say that it is a profound honor to be here in St. Louis, and I just really want to appreciate and salute the opportunity to be able to speak here. to my comrades in the African community right here in St. Louis, Missouri. So just really wanted to start by saying that this is an incredible city, an incredible people, African people community. Just when we look at the colonial conditions of this community, something that is totally unavoidable, you walk right outside and you are confronted with it immediately you're confronted with those conditions. And, just to see that this community has come and we, are sitting right here in Aquaba Hall, and we come out and we see the Gary Books Community Garden, and we see all of the incredible work, the culture that was just displayed here on this stage, the profound resistance and brilliance of the African working class right here in this community. So I just really wanted to salute, And, I'm coming here from St. Petersburg, Florida. But I'm, a part of the whole African nation, and that Africa exists everywhere throughout the world. And Chairman Omali Yeshitela helped us to understand that they did something something that would work against them 600 years later, and that they brought the African Revolution to virtually every corner of this planet, when they snatched African people from our continent and placed us in places like right here in Northside St. Louis and in St. Petersburg, Florida, and everywhere it is we've been dispersed, that this colonial system that came off the backs of our people, the blood of our people, the resources of our people, it has to fight us everywhere they placed us, right here in this community, everywhere throughout this country, everywhere throughout the world. The colonizer has to experience this revolution. So I want to say that. And I really want to take this whole presentation. We normally, we have to begin every presentation by saluting the chairman. And this is not something we just do, because we're, trying to make him feel good. But it's because we can't sit up here and say these ideas without acknowledging where they come from. And a lot of people do that, but we won't, because we have a responsibility to write history, the history that is constantly revised in order to be the colonizer's version of history. So we have a responsibility to say what it is, and we have to say who it was that rescued our movement, who it was that made sure Garvey's legacy would not die in vain, would make sure that Malcolm X and Martin Luther King would not die in vain. And that's Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and we have to say that. And so this presentation really is a salute to the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, because I can't stand here today and present again with these ideas and say that they're my own. They're not. That this was something that came as a consequence of solving the problems of a revolution that was crushed militarily, ideologically, a war without terms, as the chairman has called it. And, and it's something that we're experiencing today with this FBI assault on our movement. It's a war without terms. It's economic sanctions. It's military violence with tanks right here in the north side of St. Louis. That's war without terms that continues today to crush the spirit, to crush, the resistance of African people and the will of African people to be free. And so, I want to salute my leadership, who at 81 years old, stands tall, strong, and unbowed as the champion of Africa, the leader of the African Revolution, recognized as so by our people in Africa, right here in this country, in the Caribbean, Europe, and virtually every place on this planet that the Black liberation movement touches. And you have to think about what kind of commitment that you have to achieve something like that. In the face of the greatest purveyor of violence, as Martin Luther King once said, in the face of the greatest purveyor of violence and terror, the US government, who's responsible for someone dying in the streets right here in St. Louis as we have this discussion, or starving in places like the Middle East, this incredibly ruthless government that bombs and maims the world's peoples every day for their own pocket lining, the same government and the same colonial powers that are backed up by a vicious military with drones and tanks, a government that has made it its mission at every turn to crush any efforts by Black people to be free, whether we were standing in lines trying to gain the right to vote And we were, they sick the police dogs on us, the water hose on us. They were bombing our churches, killing our children, whether we were just trying to achieve political power through this process that they said was supposed to represent democracy. Even through that process, African people have always come under attack by the US government. So in the face of this, in the face of the murders of our leaders like Malcolm X, like King, like Fred Hampton in Chicago, that the imprisonment of our freedom fighters and the mass imprisonment and war that's made on the entire African community, the pumping of crack cocaine and heroin, a devastating assault made on our people and movement that pushed the masses of Black people out of political life, because there was a point in time before I was alive where the Black revolution was the main trend in the world. And in every community, there was the existence of some kind of organization fighting for power in the hands of African people. There was some form of resistance happening, and it was contagious. And African people were leading the struggle and inspiring struggles happening all throughout the world. But what happened when the US government launched this overwhelming assault on our community? They pushed the masses of African people who generally speaking, were engaged in some form of resistance and struggle against this system. They pushed African people out of political life. There's no coincidence why there's this fervor there in the 60s that does not exist or does exist today based on the reemergence of the Black Power movement. But for a long period of time, it was a struggle to be able to push these questions in front and center, even though they were obvious. But African people were pushed out of political life with this assault that was made on our movement, and it demoralized the struggle for liberation and self-determination. So all of this I've said, Chairman Omali Yeshitela lived, he experienced, was personally affected by, he was imprisoned, he was brutalized, and yet he has never surrendered. And as a consequence, we sit here today and we're having this discussion in the most impoverished, economically depressed African community, conditions created by the US government and the local St. Louis government in the beautiful Aquaba Hall, a project of the Black Power Blueprint that really has been the only thing that represents any real and meaningful future for our people. And so we're here today, some 60 years later, since Chairman Omali Yeshitela got involved in the struggle for the freedom of Black people when he assumed responsibility to complete the Black Revolution of the 1960s. 60 years later, we're here today. And that's a statement of the failure of the US government, of the world colonial powers to keep African people trapped in this system forever. And the thing is, we know that this system is not permanent. It came into being through human hands, and it will be destroyed with human hands. And 60 something years ago, the chairman was the same age that I am today. When he came into City Hall in St. Petersburg, Florida in 1966, and he tore down this mural that depicted African people the way the colonizer sees and portrays African people. The chairman tore down this mural and marched it through the streets of the African community to do then what he's been doing now, which is fighting for economic development and self-determination in the hand of African people. And so the legacy and the work, the courage and the commitment, the brilliance and the strategy of the chairman lives right here in this room. It lives in the incredible work being carried out by Deputy Chair Onizane Yeshitela. It lives in the work that was just displayed by the incredible two-day Uhuru Solidarity Movement National Convention that we just adjourned. And I'm saying all of this because it's important to understand that on July 29th of 2022, the US government launched a most obvious assault on Chairman Omali Yeshitela, the African People's Socialist Party, and the Uhuru Movement, claiming us to be agents working at the instruction of Russia and the Russian government. So I've just said, something, not everything, some things about Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and for 60 years and everything he's gone up against. And in 2022, the US government comes up that this is a Russian conspiracy. This is a Russian plot, right? And it's really important for us as African people to recognize how insulting, how white nationalist of an accusation that is. as well as a total lie. Because for 600 years since we met the colonizer, it was determined when what's now called Europe set its sights on Africa, on what's called the Americas today, on Asia, and in various places throughout the world, when they set their sights to colonize African people, to enslave our people, that we were going to be erased from history. It was determined that long ago. And while they snatched us up and they dispersed us throughout the world and they forced us to labor, they forced us to produce life, wealth, and a future. The future they're living today, the colonizer gets to experience today, they established for themselves 600 years ago on the backs of African people. And they determined that they were now going to rewrite history to justify their place on the backs of the rest of us. And this is what's happening, by the way, when they say we're Russian, when they say accuse us of being Russian agents. They're erasing history. They're erasing the history of African resistance, the history of African struggle, which has never accepted the verdict of colonialism, not ever. African people have always fought. We're sitting in a Quabble Hall because African people fought for this to be here. And you know, to create that wealth and to create that future, our babies have to starve. Our babies were kidnapped. They were sold. They're kidnapped today. It's called arrest CPS. It's called the Child Protective Services. They do it today. Constantly warfare made on African people every single day. And you can't call it anything else, because the same thing that was happening during slavery, where our babies were snatched from African women's arms just minutes after giving birth, being sold to another plantation. It's exactly what happens to African people when CPS comes into your home, into the hospital, to take your baby away from you and tell you you're an unfit mother. This system's fit to raise our children. This system's fit, the same system that's brutalizing people all over the world, that's starving babies, that's killing people all over the world. Those are the fit parents for our children. We were fit parents when we were having, their children were sucking on the breasts of African women. Yes. Right? But this is the history that they have erased. They have taken off the map. They have taken African people off the map. They have taken the contributions of Africa and African people off the map. And Chairman Omali Yeshitela put us back. Africa is on the map. African people are not this objects of the colonizer's history, not a footnote in the colonizer's history. We are the subjects of it. We are the centers of it. It's the reason why the colonizer is experiencing such profound crisis, because African people are no longer these things that you can just say it's a normal consequence of some, system coming into being. No, we are fighting for our place as, rightful in history. That's what we are fighting for today, to recapture our land, our resources, our genius, our creativity, everything that's been stolen from our people. That's what African people, are involved in today. That's why we are attacked on July 29th. This is why the US government is attacking our people. And I just want to close, by saying that the chairman, and part of, putting African people back into the world, into the center, places like the revolution in IET of Haiti that was never recognized, the powerful movement that was led by Marcus Garvey, never recognized, but through the leadership of the chairman and the African People's Socialist Party and African internationalism, we brought them back into significance, and we define them as these world-changing moments. And this is what we're experiencing right now, that the African People's Socialist Party has intervened in history in such a way that it has altered, changed the world forever. And it can't ever go back. And that's what the rest of the world is saying. The rest of the world that's been, brutalized and bullied by the US government, they're saying, we're not going back to the old days. The old days are over, okay? That's done. This is, the new world that we're fighting for. This is, what's coming, and they can't stop it. They can't stop it. They're desperate. They are trying everything. That's what the flashbang grenades were about. That's what this, the pressure of looming indictments is about. It's to stop us, to try to, push us back in that place of fear that they put us in after the defeat of the Black Revolution of the 1960s. But they will not be successful. Your presence in this room today indicates that the profound work that we're doing, despite the attacks that's been made against us, is an indication of that. We will be victorious. We are winning, comrades, brothers and sisters. Uhuru. So I just I'm sorry. Yeah, it's time. So thank you so much for, again, allowing me to just be here to speak. And I want to close out by saying I'm a proud, unindicted co-conspirator, of this movement. And, I just want to call on all of us to have the same kind of courage and commitment as our leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Wow, one more round of applause for our fearless leader, Akile Anai. African woman must lead. Right on. Uhuru, comrades. All right, well, I have the honor of inviting up another unindicted co-conspirator. And I didn't mention, but we have a fourth unindicted co-conspirator who I did not mention, but is the target, which is Chairman, who we will hear from a little later on. But in this segment, I do want to invite up our next unindicted co-conspirator, quote unquote, Chairwoman Penny Hess, who is the chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee. Penny Hess is, part of the movement of building reparations for the African community under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. And she's also the author of Overturning the Culture of Violence. And I just really want to salute you, comrade, and come on up. The floor is yours. Uhuru.
Okay. Uhuru! Uhuru, I want to begin by saluting that powerful presentation of African People's Socialist Party's Director of Agitprop, Akile Anai. Very much an honor to be here today. And I want to begin by just strongly and powerfully denouncing these vicious FBI raids, targeting Chairman Omali Yeshitela, all of the work of the Uhuru Movement, the work of Deputy Chair Onizine Yeshitela that has put these programs on the ground. And that I want to say, first of all, that I am proud to be the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee. This is the organization formed by the African People's Socialist Party, led by Chairman Omali Yeshitela. It was formed back in 1976 that organizes white people under the leadership of the African Revolution with the mandate to go into the white community to organize other white people, just like ourselves, to stand for reparations to African people. And the African People's Solidarity Committee was formed based on the understanding of African internationalism that Chairman Omali Yeshitela, the science of understanding the world that the Chairman Omali Yeshitela has brought us, that enables us as white people for the first time in history to embrace the world, the understanding of the world as it truly is, and not as we think it is. And it is based on the understanding that all white people sit on the pedestal of the assault on Africa, on the kidnapping of African people, which created the wealth, the stolen wealth based on the labor and the brilliance and all of the work and labor and resources and land of Africa that forced African people to this hemisphere, to the United States and other places, based on the land stolen from the indigenous people. All white people came here from Europe based on the ability to walk up the ladder of success on the backs of African people. As the chairman says, there wouldn't be an America without the enslavement of African people, the colonization of African people, and the genocide against the indigenous people. And we also know in the true history, all white people participated in the genocide, in maintaining the enslavement of African people, and had the power and life and death over every African person. And that when we hear, as the chairman has said, as Director Akile said, that it was the lives of African people that made it possible for us to have our life, we know, one, that we owe reparations to African people, and we know that we must be under the leadership of the African working class and the Uhuru movement, and it's very much an honor to do that. The Solidarity Movement on July 29th, although we recognize that Chairman Omali Yeshitela, the Uhuru Movement Deputy Chair, was the target, the Uhuru Solidarity Center at 2654 Gravois in the white community was also raided by the FBI. We saw that on the video where they're coming in with all the flashbangs. That was on the south side of St. Louis. My house was also raided at 5 o'clock in the morning, the same way. Jesse Neville and Amanda, and also Kitty Riley, the house where Jesse and Amanda live upstairs from the Solidarity Center was also raided on July 29th. And that this is historic because unlike in the 1960s, when African people were assassinated, were imprisoned, were set up, were attacked by the FBI, brought to trial, so many attacks on that movement, which defeated the African Revolution of the 1960s. In this case, the African People's Socialist Party had created the Solidarity Movement to break the isolation. And it is really, really important that it was able to create a buffer between the state and the direct attacks by the FBI. And so I just want to add that I also am very proud to be called by the state an unindicted co-conspirator in the camp, in the side of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, the African Revolution. I am proud to be that, and that this is historic. I call on white people to donate to this campaign. We have a lot more resources to raise through the Hands Off Uhuru campaign, and to join it, to build it, become an unindicted co-conspirator. We want white people to say that, to take that stand, and to stand for reparations to African people and the right to stand in solidarity with the African Revolution and its fight to liberate all of Africa and African people everywhere. This system must go, end colonialism. Hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa.
Uhuru, thank you, Chairwoman Penny Hess, for that presentation. And again, just as a reminder, this is a fundraiser. We are looking to raise the resources that we need for this legal defense, and you will be meeting and hearing from the lawyers of this Uhuru legal defense team. So we have a goal of raising $1,000, and if you haven't already, I want to remind you to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate and make your donation today. But before we close this section, I have the honor of bringing up another unindicted co-conspirator of these bogus attacks. I want to welcome up Chair Jesse Neville. Jesse Neville is the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, a former mayoral candidate in St. Petersburg, Florida, and an organizer for campaigns for white reparations to the African community, and just led a very powerful convention in this room. I want to salute you, Chair Jesse Neville. Uhuru.
Uhuru, hands off Uhuru. I want to thank Chair Mwezi and salute the incredibly powerful statement from Director Akile and I and Chairwoman Penny Hess, and just say that it's a great honor to be a part of this event tonight, and want to join in saluting Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Deputy Chair Onizine Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party. And I am also a member of the African People's Solidarity Committee. And just want to say that everything Chairwoman Penny just said speaks for me as a member of the African People's Solidarity Committee. It's an honor to be under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, and an honor to be put in the company of these incredible heroes of humanity, of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, of the African People's Socialist Party, and to be called a so-called unindicted co-conspirator for standing on the side of reparations to African people in solidarity with African liberation, and unite with what was just stated, that for our call to white people is for all white people to become reparations co-conspirators. And that should be the dream of every white child growing up. When I grow up, I want to be an unindicted co-conspirator with Chairman Omali Yeshitela. And I also, yes, I'm part of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And as Chairwoman Penny mentioned, Amanda Carlozzi, who's the vice chair of USM, and I, we live in the upstairs apartment from the Uhuru Solidarity Center. That was one of the buildings raided. You saw the video footage in that clip of them in the lobby kind of area of the Solidarity Center. And that's a building owned by the African People's Socialist Party. They handcuffed us, they aimed assault rifles at us, and we recognize that every assault rifle aimed at us was another assault rifle aimed at Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party, that this was an attack on the leadership of African people fighting for their liberation and on the strategy of winning white people, going behind enemy lines, extending the African Revolution on both sides of the so-called Delmar Divide, and opening a center with a banner that says unity through reparations. That's the building that came under attack. That's the message that came under attack. That's the work that came under attack. So I want to join in denouncing this vicious attack that was waged by this government against the African liberation movement, against African people, and say that I am insulted by this slanderous and racist claim that the US government is putting out, that Chairman Omali Yeshitela and African people in general required Russian leadership and intervention to identify that they are oppressed and have to wage a fight for their liberation. And I'm personally insulted that Joe Biden, the Democratic Party, the US government would pander to the most base racist assumptions that they assume white people are going to have and gobble this offensive narrative that they are peddling about the Uhuru movement and the supposed Russian influence campaign. And it was mentioned in the bio that I'm a former mayoral candidate. That's one of the things they say was done for the Russians. I'll tell you this, I'm going to just tell you right now, okay? I did run for mayor. That part's true. I ran for mayor of St. Petersburg, Florida. The campaign was all about reparations to African people. But you know who was behind that? It wasn't Vladimir Putin. It was Chairman Omali Yeshitela. So they don't get to give the Russians credit for the incredible and brilliant strategy that Chairman Omali Yeshitela has developed and led for more than 50 years as the leader of the African People's Socialist Party and more than 60 years as an African revolutionary in this struggle. So I'll just close by saying that I do consider it an honor, to the extent that I would say thank you to the US government for delivering the Medal of Honor to me on July 29th. I'll just say you could have knocked. So stop the legal lynching of Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Hands off Uhuru. Uhuru.
Wow. All I can say is wow, wow, wow. I want to take this time to bring up a young man that was attacked right here in St. Louis after they attacked the whole organization. I'm gonna let him enlighten you about our criminal system. Where the people that run it are the criminals. Timba Shabanda.
Uhuru, just really want to appreciate this opportunity to tell this story. I just really want to salute Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Deputy Chair Onazane Yeshitela, all the people that's here from the African People's Socialist Party, especially those that sit on the National Central Committee, Solidarity Forces and everything. So what is that? Was that the 31st? It was hot October 31st. I was came to the Uhuru house around what, close to noon, is about maybe 10:30ish, to take down the Halloween decorations that we had for the a celebration that we had for the children of the neighborhood, part of the farmers market that we have here, bringing economic development to the Black community here, the African community here. And I was approached by two St. Louis police officers, St. Louis City police officers, and with their guns drawn on me, telling me to get down, get down. As soon as I turn around and I look, I see them with the guns, and they're saying, get down, get down, get down, get on your knees. We know who you are, you know who you are. I asked them, who am I? Because I'm like, what did I do? And they tell me my name. And then that's when I really understand that it was for me. So they had put me on my knees, put me guns pointing in my face, hands behind my back, handcuffed real tight, and started to question me, let me know what was going, what I was arrested for. I was arrested for terroristic threats. That's what I was arrested for. Stemming from an incident that happened out, I taught at Gateman Middle School last year, and I was trying to get my job back as a substitute teacher. And I went through all the process and whatever, but whatever. So, stemming from that process. So they called, the school shooting had happened at, just a couple of days late, before or whatever. But at any rate, so at the time that I'm on my knees and, handcuffed tightly, I'm right across the street from the Uhuru house. I'm wondering, like, man, what's going to happen? My people don't know where I'm at. They're going to go. And then I started thinking about Darren Seals and, some of the other comrades that have been murdered by the FBI here in St. Louis because of their solidarity and love for their people and fighting for their people. And so, I was really, distraught, and asked to make a phone call, was able to make a phone call. And then once I was talked to my people, I was better. So they take me to the St. Louis Police Department, booked me, put me in a processing, and throughout that process, I noticed that that everyone that was coming in, I got in about noon. Everybody that was coming in was getting processed and going to wherever they needed to go. And I was in there for about 6 hours, about 7 o'clock was when I was told, when I was being interviewed by what they said was a special unit out of the police, out of St. Louis Police Department, but they were FBI agents. So I must say, I gotta always say this because I made a terrible mistake in speaking. I gotta make a self-criticism. You never talk to the police, never give just being, nervous, not knowing what's going on. I was taken back, but that's no excuse. So I just want to just let you know that is, we don't talk to the police, don't give a statement. They will always use it against you, and it's never going to be in your favor. And but at any rate, I did give a statement. And when I got into the interview room, they say, oh man, the police officer was like, oh man, this is some bull crap. This is some BS, man. We got terroristic threats. What is this? This never goes through. You'll be out tomorrow. You'll be out tomorrow. And so they said, they sat me down, and then they was like, so tell us about Russia. So now literally, that's what it was. So tell us about Russia. And they was asking questions about, Russia, and showing me pictures of people who had was in Russia with Russians and stuff like that. And then they had asked me questions about the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru Movement, asked me questions, how many people are in the movement? What since the FBI attack, since the raids, what is the membership like? What's the response of the people? And all these types of things. I mean, this is what the types of questions they were asking. And just understanding that, after that, I was went to the process in the court. The judge was terrible, didn't get any bail. I have no felony, I have no record. And I didn't get bail, didn't get bond or anything like that. When I was in the jail system, that little what was it, Justice Center, for 2 weeks, I was in there, and they would not let me, for some reason, I was in places where there was like lockdowns, like 23-hour lockdowns. And I thought you was, innocent and still proven guilty, and all that type of stuff, but that wasn't the case. I was there for my mother's birthday, and that's that. I don't bring this up a lot because this really hurts, because I was not able to make a phone call on my mother's birthday to her, and just these types of things just were occurring, and then I'm hearing stories from inmates that had been there for months, and they're saying that this is unusual. We usually get out for rec, every day, 3-4 hours a day, all of us getting out for rec, and everywhere that they transferred me 3 times, and everywhere that I was going, I was at, there was no rec. I was always in a cell, or I got out for an hour by myself to make my phone calls to my mother and lawyer. So, and those people, some movement members as well, who were really, really hustling to get me out. So I just wanted to tell my story, because this is not, this isn't, oh yeah, also, shortly after my first court hearing, I found out that my charges was changed. There were no longer domestic, terroristic threats. There was some type of felonious harassment. And instead, I'm wondering about that as well. So I still am going through this process. My next court date is May 11. I think that starts the trial, discovery and all that good stuff. So, but we fighting, and I just give you an understanding that this is a all-encompassing type of assault on the Uhuru movement and African people. So they leave no stone unturned. So also, if I may, mysteriously, when we were in San Diego, my bag with all my electronic, Oakland, we go so many places. But Oakland, thank you. We're in Oakland, California. I had, my MacBook, my iPad, and my passport, and all that stuff was stolen. And we think it, very much so think it was the state. So just be out, just want to let you know what's going on. Don't talk to the police. Don't talk to them. Just want to reiterate that. And hands off of Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrades. It's been a long day for some of you, and I want to give you the opportunity to just stand up.
Get up, stand up.
Take a breath. In, out. Shake it off. Now let's get back to work.
Comrades, Uhuru, thank you, Fofi. Let me move this real quick. Hands off, Uhuru. Hands off. Fist up. Uhuru, comrades and friends and supporters. Again, I just want to appreciate Comrade Timba for your statement. And before we transition to our next segment where you'll get a chance to meet the lawyers of the Uhuru Legal Defense, I just want to say the importance of you sharing your statement because, you know, it's intended for us to, you know, not talk about it. It's intended for us, you know, just like what happened on July 29, this campaign, you know, had to happen so that we let the world know what exactly happened on July 29th. And just to know that your safety is in the community. And so I just really want to appreciate the security that we have built as the African nation that exists, as Director Akile said, everywhere you look on this planet where the Uhuru movement is, we got you. So Uhuru. All right, well, we have 3 seats up here because we have 3 special people who will come up because you are a very important aspect to this campaign. So I do want to take a moment to introduce the attorneys who are part of the legal defense for the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Defense Campaign. So I'm going to invite you up. Well, I'm just going to take a moment to introduce you. And as I do, you can come on up and have a seat. And then we would like to give you the floor to share anything. This is for our lawyers. Perfect. Okay, we're going to have a table up here for you. So while we do that, I'm going to just take a moment to remind everybody to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate if you have not donated already. We do have some donations that are coming in, so I do want to appreciate you, and we will take time to thank you during the appeal a little bit later on. But again, let me just take a moment to even just talk a little bit more about why raising these resources are important. In December 2023 or 2022, we got news that indictments were imminent in early 2023 with the US government and the FBI having, you know, plans that now they're very ready and very close to indictments. Indictments are literally breathing down our necks. And we have to understand that what they're trying to do is, you know, they know that they can't crush this movement. So they have to find any way that they can to take down our leader, who is the target of the FBI and the US government, which is Chairman Omali Yeshitela. They want to use all these other different types of attacks to try to get to us, but they know that raising these resources is very important because we have to be able to put the FBI on trial because, as the chairman said, we want Joe Biden in the hot seat. Right? Yeah. We have just everything that you have heard. If you were here for the USM convention, if you've been here just since the start of this rally, is an indictment and a criticism of the US government. We have all the evidence that we need in order to put them on trial, but we have to play this fight on the ground, which is why we're here, but we also have to beat them in the courtroom. And so I want to really take this moment to appreciate and welcome up our attorneys. One of them who is not here today, but did have the opportunity to come and see some of the work on the ground. And so I'm going to start by inviting up Mutaki Akbar, who is a criminal defense trial attorney and the current president of the NAACP in Tallahassee chapter. So thank you, comrade, for coming up. Uhuru. Yes, and thank you, Chairman. And Comrade Mutaki will be representing Jesse Neville. So right over there, Jesse, yes. And next I want to welcome up Life Malcolm. Uhuru Life Malcolm is an attorney and social justice advocate and will be representing Comrade Director Akile Anai. We also have someone who is not here, but I will name them and then I'll bring up our last one, Leonard Goodman. If you're listening, Leonard Uhuru, he's a criminal lawyer and adjunct professor of law at DePaul University, and he will be representing Chairwoman Penny Hess, but we will not be hearing from him today, but I do want to say his name. And last but not least, I want to welcome up Addie Griffin. Addie Griffin is a criminal defense lawyer in West Palm Beach and will be representing our chairman, Omali Yeshitela. So we have about, we have time allotted for the section, but I really just wanted to open it up to allow you all have had the really great opportunity to come and be here on the ground with us over this weekend. You have had a chance to see the Black Power Blueprint on the ground, to see the work that just a small glimpse of the work that the Uhuru Movement has done and that we are here to defend. And so, and to receive the political education and the overview around what this is really about, because as we know, these are bogus charges. And as the chairman says, people will use facts to hide the truth. And right, and when we're talking about a court of law, we understand that you all have a job to do, and we all have a job to do. So we want to just appreciate you for being here today. Uhuru.
Thank you so much.
Uhuru. Uhuru. So just in the same order that I introduced you, I will invite you to just come up and say a few words. Anything that comes to your mind. Uhuru. Uhuru Mataki.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Mutaki Akbar. I'm here from Tallahassee. It's a lot warmer down there. So this cold we're not used to. But I appreciate being invited up. And this, honestly, this is kind of an odd situation for the lawyers to be invited in this. But I also understand why we were asked to come up. I'm not big on conspiracy theories at all, to be honest with you, especially being a criminal defense attorney. But like, if there was a conspiracy to take down an organization by the government, this would be the organization that the government takes down. And actually seeing it in person was necessary for us to really understand what this is all about. And also understand why it's important to fight like hell, really, to make sure that the organization is not brought down as a part of this indictment. And so, but I do want to kind of give the bird's eye view of just where we are right now in this process, and just step by step as far as where we think this is going to go. So right now, I mean, where this is odd, to be honest with you. Usually the government doesn't kind of give a preview or 6-month warning that we're coming to get you. That it usually doesn't happen this way. But what happened was there was an indictment against a Russian citizen named Ayanov. So they indicted him in the Middle District of Florida. And as a part of, in that indictment, they listed what the conspiracy is. And so in listing what the conspiracy is, they listed several different unindicted co-conspirators. It's about, I believe, like 7 in that indictment. 4 of those 7 are members of the African People's Socialist Party. And so, and those are the people that we're representing right now. The other 3 are part of other organizations, and at least 1 used to be a part of this party, but started another party. And what the allegations are, it includes a lot of different things, but some of those allegations are that this Russian Ayanov was instructing members of this party and other parties to do certain things on behalf of the Russian government. That included certain media propaganda, running in some of these political races, a number of things. And so this person, Ayanov, he was not actually arrested. So they did the indictment through the grand jury, but they have not arrested him yet. But as a result of that indictment, that's when the search warrants and everything came down. What we expect to happen, so we've been in communication with the U.S. attorney who's a part of this, and he has told us on several occasions that an indictment is imminent, that they expect to go before a grand jury. And once they go before that grand jury, then they will indict those unindicted co-conspirators will become indicted co-conspirators. It's felony offenses under the federal statutes. I believe the maximum penalty for those offenses that we expect to come down is 5 years for the maximum penalty. Under the federal guidelines, it's usually not what the max is. Usually it's somewhere based on those federal guidelines, and that usually depends on criminal history and other things. You know, prison is like worst case scenario, prison is on the table, you know, to be honest with you. But, you know, I mean, but that's, you know, kind of worst case scenario going down the line. If or when there is an indictment, the other part is, will they come in guns blazing again to arrest people and take them in order to do their first appearance, or will they call the lawyers, which they can, and which we've seen in situations where, you know, major drug lords, they'll call us and say, hey, tell your client to come in. So it's not far-fetched for them to do something like that, but we'll see. So you know, but we just kind of talk about it now so everybody would know what to expect. So it could be, hey, kick down the doors and drag them in to go to court. And it could be, they call us, and then there's a first appearance at that point. Because the case is down in the Middle District of Florida, it would then, for the people who live in St. Louis, they would get an appearance here, and then they would have to appear in the Middle District of Florida. With federal court, it's not court date after court date after court date. Usually after the initial appearance, they'll set the trial for sometimes 21 to 30 days after the initial appearance. Usually we can, and most likely would be the case in this case, we would get a continuous, probably like 5 or 6 months out, and get prepared for trial during that time period. A trial would likely be with all of the co-conspirators, even some people that's not a part of this party. It could be with everybody at that time. We just talking about it, we expect it probably to be about a week and a half, 2-week trial. And in that, they would have to, you know, just like you see on TV, they have to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And we'll be fighting it, you know, along the way in that process. And a part of our fight, you know, and our strategy, you know, that we were talking about is just kind of presenting what the party has been doing for the last, you know, almost, you know, what, 50, 60 years, well before any contact with anybody else has come about. But that's pretty much, I wanted to give you all just kind of like the basics of what to look forward to. We of course, you know, pray for the best, but are preparing for the worst. But I do believe that the indictments are coming, and probably within the, you know, next month or so, to be honest with you. And then at that point, we'll you know, continue moving forward. But I'll be here to answer any questions, but just wanted to kind of give you the highlights of what's coming forward.
Thank you, Comrade. Yes, Comrade Life, and please, yes, we will have time for questions as well. So please make notes of that too. Uhuru. Thank you.
Uhuru. First of all, I want to express my deep and profound appreciation for being here. I'm very delighted to be here in St. Louis and to see all this wonderful work that the party's done over the years here, transforming this community. I also want to say that I am a member of the African People's Socialist Party, and I salute my leadership, Chairman Omali, Director Chair Disiona, Director Akile Anai. Also, I want to appreciate Chair Mwezi. And recognize everybody who is here as a member of the party, as well as everybody who is a member of the African People's Solidarity Committee and the USM. Mutaki did a very good job at explaining what we're looking at regarding the case. So I won't touch that. I think he did enough on that. I do want to say, though, that I became a member of the party more than 20 years ago. And the reason why I'm here today is I remember being a little boy, right, watching Superman, and they would talk about truth. You know, it was when it was in black and white. You know, the guy would stand on top of the planet, and the flag would wave in the background. They would talk about truth, justice, and the American way. And you know, that was make believe. And I've never seen some good white man come save the day, and I've never seen the colonizer be truthful. I've never seen the colonizer bring justice, but I've always seen the colonizer bring the American way. Whether lynching us in the cotton patch or the cornfield or the classroom or the courtroom, I've always seen the colonizer bring the American way. But I have seen a man come save the day, though. There's a new day and a new way. There's a Africa for Africans at home and abroad way. There is a Fannie Lou Hamer, everybody got to be free and nobody's freeway. There is if they put it on the wall, tear it off the damn wall, Omali gets to tell away. And I want to say that I'm appreciative to be a member of the African People's Socialist Party and a member of the Florida Bar who can say it's a new day and a new way. Uhuru.
Poetry and law. I don't know, that didn't work. I hope you do that. You spin circles around the judges and everybody. Yeah, we got to pull out all the tricks. Comrade, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? My name's Addie Griffin, and I have the absolute honor and pleasure of representing Omali Yeshitela. And like Life said, Nataki did a great job outlining the case, where things are at, and where we're going. But I can tell you that we will do everything in our power to defend each and every one of you. I will defend you. I will represent you. And I will defend all of your rights in the United States Constitution. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much, comrades, and you're welcome to stay up here because we're going to move our program to the very important part of our keynote, which will be given, which will be the chairman. So I want to, if you need to go get water, if you left anything at your seats, let us know, we can bring it to you, but we want to appreciate you for being up here. And again, I want to remind everybody to continue to donate. And thank you again, those of you who have been donating, who have been going to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. We have a goal of raising $1,000 for today, and we will reach that goal, right? Yes, we'll get $1,000 closer towards getting to our legal goal of $277,500 to meet the money that we need in order to secure our legal representation for this fight back. So I want to, again, another round of applause for our lawyers, for our attorneys, for part of this fight back. Uhuru. So it is my honor now to introduce the founder and the leader of the Uhuru Movement and the African People's Socialist Party and Florida organizer for SNCC in the 1960s. He has taught the world that capitalism is parasitic, built on slavery and colonialism. He has built the mass movement for reparations, holding the World Tribunal on reparations to African people in 1982, and led the world in making reparations a household word. He has taken the movement beyond protest, creating over 50 institutions for the infrastructure of our liberated Africa and our liberated Africans' working economy. He is the author of many books, including his most recent and report to the 7th Congress, which you can find back there, The Advanced Detachment Vanguard of the African Revolution, and he provides the leadership for the world's anti-colonial revolutionary struggle. He is the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party and the African Socialist International. Please help me welcome Chairman Omali Yeshitela.
Uhuru. Thank you very much. Uhuru. Hands off Africa, Uhuru. I want to express my appreciation to Comrade Mwezi for that introduction. And I also have to express appreciation to Fofi. I call her Foots. Because she is the primary organizer of this meeting. And in terms of having, provided leadership in the African community to keep us connected. And this is Sundays, the regular day of meeting. 3 o'clock every Sunday we are here. And this is different in the sense that we brought our lawyers here, and then the Solidarity Movement is concluding its convention here on today. But we're here every Sunday at 3 o'clock. And Fofi is the driving force that's helped to get people here and keep them connected to our movement. So I wanted to say that, first of all. Secondly, I'm really happy, that our lawyers are here. I just felt like it was really extremely important for them to know who we are and what we do, and that we're absolutely transparent. There's nothing that we've said that we do here today that we don't do all the time. It was not necessary for anybody to knock down doors, steal our computers, steal our phones, and things like that to find out who we are, what we stand for. We got a newspaper, and every month this newspaper comes out, it says exactly what we stand for, what we want, what we believe. And this newspaper itself is 54 years old. And so this whole notion that somehow the Russians are involved in that is obscene. And the fact is, the government doesn't care whether you believe it or not. The assumption is that they can do what they want to do because they got the guns, they got the power to do it, et cetera. But we believe that the people are, in the final analysis, the final determinant of what the hell is going to happen to me, to you, to anybody else in terms of this community. And a problem that they have is that they have been able, with the defeat, military defeat of the Black Revolution of the 1960s, they killed Malcolm, they killed King, they killed Fred Hampton, they killed more than 30 members of the Black Panther Party in 1968 alone. We don't know how many people they put in prison, in jail during that period of time. They took that movement off the ground. That movement that they destroyed was not some kind of anti-racist movement. It was a movement against colonialism. It was a movement for Black people to have Black power over our own Black lives, because that's our responsibility as a people. If we're going to live in dignity, we have to be able to feed, clothe, house ourselves, right? And so that our children have something they can look up to, as opposed to seeing this thing that blocks their view of the sky. They need to be able to see the sky. The sky is the limit. That has to be what is born into our children, but it can't happen under the circumstances we live today, where bombed out buildings are treated as normal, where it's regularly they take our children to prison, where you got even a person who's in the government here, a Black man, who says that bring the National Guards in to control this war because of crime. Don't bring these developers in. Don't bring these people who are ripping our communities off day by day, making it impossible for us to have a place to live. Don't bring the National Guards for them, but for Black people who are trying to do everything they can to survive within the limits that's available to us. So I'm glad to see that our lawyers are here so they can get a sense of what we stand for. And I'm glad that we're looking at fighting lawyers too. They have to be fighting lawyers, right? They have to be fighting lawyers, right? Yeah. Because we've got suggestions that we can come in and make a deal. In fact, my lawyer, the first lawyer who represented me, said that the guy told him, that if I wanted to come in and talk to them, perhaps I could avoid another 5 a.m. raid. But what I'm saying is, we ain't making no damn deals. Well, there are no deals to be made. We are not making any deals. And I understand that a lawyer who's not here, Leonard Goodman, who represents Penny Hess, when they told him that Penny could come in and make some kind of deal, he said something to the effect that if I agreed to that, I should be charged with malfeasance, malpractice, you understand? Because they haven't done anything. You don't have a case, you don't have any evidence, so that's not what we're doing. We're fighting. We're fighting. And this is something that we want to make clear. We are fighting, fighting, fighting. You understand? Not surrendering. We're not laying down just because they have the ability to wake us up at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is absolutely obscene and absolutely unnecessary for them to have done. So no deals. And I want to thank everybody for coming to this. And I want you to make a practice, those of you who are in St. Louis and especially African communities, to come to the Sunday meetings. Because part of what it is that we're about is creating a process through which Black people, African people, can come together and look at the issues that's affecting our communities and participate in a form of self-government right here in the community. This is what's happening to us. Somebody can come and explain this, and then we can collectively see if we can take on that particular problem or something to that effect. Because we intend to be a self-determining people. We don't intend to continue this process of just living, under foreign and alien domination. So I wanted to make sure, and you heard us say Uhuru. And for those of you who don't know, Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. And I don't know why, what does that do? People get upset when we say Uhuru. What the hell does freedom scare you? You understand? And it's Swahili. Can you say Uhuru? Uhuru. Wow. And then We use another term all the time. Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. This place where you're in now is called Akwaba Hall, right? Akwaba is tree, a language that's spoken in Ghana. It means welcome. And so Akwaba. And we also use the term, it's a call and response term. It's Izwe to E Africa. I say Izwe to, it means the land is ours. E Africa tells what land we are talking about. I say Izwe to, you say E Africa. I say E Africa, you say Izwe to. That's probably Zulu, spoken in South Africa. You didn't know you were multilingual until up until now, right? And so just this, the thing is, the language is a critically significant kind of thing, and revolutionary language is really important too. I want to say something. You keep hearing us say revolution, revolution, revolution. Some people say revolution just means change. No, revolution means more than change. And I want to be clear on this because this is the problem. If the only thing we were interested in is change, then we wouldn't be awakened at 5 o'clock in the morning with grenades. We wouldn't have tanks in our communities. They wouldn't knock down the door. It's more than change. For a caterpillar to grow into a bigger caterpillar, that's change. But a caterpillar that turns into a butterfly, that's transformation. And what we're involved in is creating butterflies all over the damn place, right? So revolution is more than just change. What it is about is development. And it means that revolution means that we can come into control of our own lives, that we can become a self-governing people, that colonialism, alien and foreign domination won't continue to be the factor that determines what it is that we will be looking at and what our children will have a future or not. And then I think that's really important for us to understand. So we say we are fighting against colonialism. That's what the revolution is about. They put you on this false trajectory after they kill all the revolutionaries, or as many as possible. They kill Malcolm King, Black Panther Party members. They kill a co-founder of the African People's Socialist Party, Lawrence Mann. They jail people, they scare people, fighting you. People are sometimes even afraid to come to this place because they know the FBI. You know the FBI bombed that place. You know the FBI raided that place. Or my boss might find out I went there. Or Comrade Timber, who's teaching in the schools and what have you. And then and the people who he works with knows what he stands for and whatever. So that becomes a problem, and they can get some brownie points by snitching on Timber, and somebody can whisper and Timber can lose his job and he can get an argument with them, and he's charged with making terroristic threats, using it as the basis for attacking him. But I want to say that we are talking about transformation. People have to have power in their lives. There's no dignity. There's no dignity. There's no dignity. And not being able to feed, clothe, and house yourself. You see, it's not just that they want you to starve, because what we're involved in is a parasitic relationship. A parasite is an entity that lives off another organism. That's what a parasite is. That's how it lives. It can't survive unless it's sucking the blood or something, or eating somebody else. You know, people here may be old enough to remember tapeworm because y'all used to eat meat. And y'all used to eat dead animal parts, right? And sometimes, you know, this meat, you know, has this stuff in it, these larvae from worms and stuff like that. And you eat it. I see somebody flinching, and I'm glad. You know what I'm saying? And you eat it. And this worm is like a parasite, and you eat it, and it attaches itself to your intestines. If you're lucky enough, you got a job. And if you got a job and you're Black, you were heard, as they say in St. Louis. You really have to work for it. And so you go out, you work, you buy food. If you can get out of the food desert, right? You buy food, you bring it back, you fix the food, you cook it, you chew it up and eat it. But you can't get no bigger. The tapeworm doesn't do any work at all. It just hangs onto your intestine. And it lives off what you have eaten, what you have earned, what you have done, etc. That's a parasite. This is the kind of relationship we have to this social system. It sucks our blood. It takes our resources all the time. And guess what? You cannot convince that parasite to leave you. I don't give a damn how many good raps you got. I don't care what prayers that you pray or anything that the parasite's gonna stay there. Why will a parasite stay there? Because if it leaves you, what happens? It dies. It can't live without sucking your blood, sucking your resources. Doesn't mean you can't get rid of the parasite, because you can. But it's gonna take revolutionary medicine to do that. It's gonna take the ability to create a capacity so that the parasite in you, the parasite cannot live with you. It cannot live with you. See, in St. Louis, it's one of the most insidious things I've ever seen any place. In St. Louis, you can drive around various corners and you see somebody stand up giving free hot dogs, free food that they've set on the curb so that Black people can come and get the free food, or they've even set up a trailer someplace that you might be able to pick up some free food. It's not that they want you to starve to death, because if you starve to death, then the parasite can't suck your blood. You have to stay alive, but they just want to make sure you can't feed yourself. You understand? So they will drop it in there for you. They will make you a welfare slave. They would tell you they've done you a favor because they brought welfare to you. And of course, the condition for getting welfare, you can't have no man in the house now. You got to break up your family. You got to do all those other kind of things that make you coherent as a community. This is what your friends are doing. And so we're talking about revolution. We're talking about actually taking the power over our lives for ourselves as a people. That's what this is about. That's what Black Power Blueprint is about. And you have united with this. And there's so many other people who have united with this. Of course, peoples around the world are fighting against the same beast. In various places around the world, people are struggling against the same contradiction because the entire world economy is organized around with this relationship between this bloodsucker and the rest of the people who are trying to survive. And the only thing we're doing is feeding the parasite, the tapeworm, who lives off of our blood. So this is what we're about. And I don't know what images you are familiar with in terms of revolution. It's more than change. That's what Obama was saying. Change, change. Why did Obama say change? Did y'all know why Obama was talking about change all the time? One thing, he knew he wanted it. But the other thing, it was coming. There was no way they could avoid the fact that change was on the horizon. So they say change, 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 so that they can capture the definition of what that change is. They can take you where they want you to go. They take the leadership of change away from our capacity to make the change that we want and that we need. And Obama got more resources from Wall Street in the history up to that time of any candidate running for president. So when he was talking about change, he might have been telling Regions Bank to take a different path than what it was taking, but he damn sure wasn't talking about Black people. In fact, he made it a point to make that clear. In fact, Obama made it a point to let people know he was what he characterized himself was as something I had never heard anybody say, except the extreme white nationalists. He defined himself as a mongrel. Yeah, y'all heard Obama say that about himself, yeah. And the whole thing was he was avoiding, he was an un-Black person. It was mostly what, that was the statement, I'm an un-Black person, and that's the thing that helped him to get elected. Other thing that helped him to get elected was that they had killed a revolution, Black people who were struggling for power in our own communities, and he never could. Even with King alive, he couldn't have done that. King, they gave him a peace prize at the time that he was initiating war against the peoples of the world. And King had said himself, what? That America is the greatest purveyor of violence on earth. And they killed him in part because he came out in opposition to America's murder and brutality in Vietnam. So Obama was no Martin Luther King. Take that stuff off your thing that shows Malcolm and King and Obama. Obama was not a victory for us. I just wanted to say that. And I think it's also important to say, we use the term all the time that we are African people. Now, some people may get confused and say, but them Africans, it's funny to me, sometimes I'm at Walmart and I ran to this sister who was trying to do a favor for me because I was buying some non-alcoholic beer and the price wasn't in the system. So she was trying to give it to me for a decent price. And then there was this brother from Ethiopia who works there. I mean, you know, a lot of Africans in Ethiopia work there. And so he had known what I was doing, and he had gone back to check the price, but the sister was trying to give it to me. And she said, okay, see that foreigner, you relied on that foreigner. So for her, the Ethiopian was the foreigner, not Sam Walden, who she works for, understand? But the Ethiopian was the foreigner. But we say we are Africans. No question about it, and it makes so much sense. It's clear that we're Africans. You can't get on no boat as an African in 1619 in Africa, and then get off in Jamestown, Virginia as a Negro. If we got on the damn boat as Africans, we were Africans when we got off the damn boat, unless that was the boat that maybe Noah fell off and was swallowed by the big, Noah, you know, escaping the floods or something. But if it was a regular boat, I mean, even Spock couldn't change that. We got on the boat as Africans, and then we get off the boat as all these other funny things. This is important because what has happened to us, the reality is that we are at least 1.5 billion strong, and perhaps even 2 billion people in the world are Black people, African people, our African people. But they've got you as thinking like a minority everywhere we live. In Africa, they carved up these little places. You know, you got places on the continent of Africa, 12 million square miles of nothing but value, richness on Africa. They got people there who call themselves Cameroonians because the Portuguese, when they got there, they found shrimp on the coast, and then they named the place for the shrimp, which is Portuguese word for Cameroon. Those people running around calling themselves Cameroonians, they ain't shrimp. They are not shrimp any more than you are an African American or a Negro. All those other things that they name us. When they name us, they take our power away from us. That's why my daddy accepted the name of my mama that had been imposed on them and gave that name to me. But a part of the decolonizing part, I'm not telling anybody else to do anything like this, but decolonization means I had to recapture my own identity because a name is a crucial kind of thing. It's connected to thousands of years of history. You don't have any history once they name you. You look up yourself, you can't find yourself. You find a white man at the end of the land. My dad took the name Waller, or it was imposed because Wallers owned Black people. They didn't just own Black people. They had some horses, and they had some cows, and they had some chickens, and they named them too. And so we were part of what it was that they named, just like any other animal they named. And when they gave that name, they took my history away from me. I couldn't find where the hell I came from. It was possible for them to convince me that my history started in a cotton patch in Mississippi or something else like that. That way your liberal friends can walk up and tell you, look how much progress you've made. You used to be on a cotton plantation in Mississippi, and now you've gunned down on the streets of Ferguson. Look how much progress you made. And we say, you can't tell me how much progress I made by measuring my distance from slavery to here. If you want to talk about progress, talk about how I started off. Talk about what we had as African people before we met you. And the fact is, we measure our progress by our proximity to the freedom and independence that we used to have, not to some slavery. So you can't create my history. You can't start my history in a cotton patch, and you can't give me the name of somebody who presumed to own me, like some other animal. So the African People's Socialist Party emerged as a party. I was a part of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, which was that bridge between the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Power movement. The Black Power movement was a critical movement in the sense that what it did was take the consciousness of our people away from this whole notion of integrating into the social system and put the struggle of Black people in this country on the same plane with people who were fighting in Vietnam and all other places in the world. People fighting for power. They weren't fighting to make white people like them. Can you see the Vietnamese people now standing up at the United Nations, trying to get the United Nations to help them get white people to like them? Talking about fighting against racism. Nobody was doing that. Racism is the ideas that's in the heads of the white people and some Negroes who accept the opinions of the white people. But the fact is, the question has always been about power. Because if you got power, you can convince the worst anti-black white person on earth to like you. Henry Kissinger once made the statement that power is the great aphrodisiac. You want your enemy to fall in love with you, get some power. And when I was growing up, as Malcolm X used to say, they used to say, you don't have a Chinaman's chance. Remember that old phrase? They don't say that no more, not about China. Not about China. They don't say you don't have a China got more chances than everybody. And that's the thing that's scaring them. That's the thing that's upsetting the apple cart, because other peoples, China was a so-called semi-colony up until the revolution that it had in 1949. And Chinese were treated, you know, like horribly. It's hard to get somebody to mess with the Chinese today. China has power. You don't see the Chinese marching down the street saying, we shall overcome. You don't see the Chinese talking about hands up, don't shoot. You don't see the Chinese begging, etc. And that's the thing that you and I have to come to terms with, because what has happened when they killed Malcolm, Malcolm wasn't begging. Garvey wasn't begging. The Black Panther Party wasn't begging. They want to put in place people who would treat us as beggars and teach us how to be beggars instead of going for our own power and the control of our own lives. They didn't just kill a human being, a physical person when they killed Malcolm. They didn't just exile or kick out or imprison a physical person when they did that with Marcus Garvey. It was an assault also on the ideas of Black freedom. That's what came under assault. The notion that Black people could stand up and build our own future, which is a real powerful contradiction, especially if they have built their future of taking everything from you. That's the parasite has to have a host, and you got the host resisting. And if the host resists, you can kill the parasite. The tapeworm can be defeated. And once defeated with revolutionary medicine, you can flush it down the toilet of history. Understand? That's what it is that we're looking at. So when we talk about fighting as Africans and fighting against colonialism, that's different from fighting against racism. Fighting against racism validates the very system that that's killing you. It's one of the most narcissistic things that white people require of you. All the stuff that's done to you, all the bombings, all the killings, etc., you got to fight to make them like you. And of course, it's up to them whether they will or not, right? So if somebody's harming you, etc., and you pick up a brick at them, and then that means that they're going to be upset and they ain't going to like you no more. And that's what a part of what the whole essence of this whole anti-racism thing is about. Is you don't want to upset the one with the power. And I agree with that, unless you can work to get power yourself. And you should always be working. My daddy used to say, when you have your hand in the lion's mouth, what you do? Somebody said, ease it out. Didn't say that was over, but you ease your hand out. Do you understand? And that's what, you know, that's something that comes from the African population. We know that. And that's why it's a lion. Didn't say if it from a poop. They said your hands in a lion's mouth, you ease it out. You don't want to startle the cat, you ease it out. And there's another saying from Africa, Muktaki, that says that that you can go to a river, you can go to the forest, you can cut down a tree. You can take the limbs from the tree and drag it to the river. You can leave the tree in the river for 100 years. It will never turn into a crocodile.
That's right.
And I'm saying that because of the illogic that we hear all the time. You've been here a long time. We've been here a long time. Therefore, we must be Americans, which is ridiculous. Malcolm X used to say chickens are sometimes born in the oven, but that don't make them the biscuits. You understand? And so it's just false logic that's imposed on us all the time. So people want power. People want control of their own lives. And we are part of leading that struggle. So they crushed our movement, they killed leaders, et cetera, and the party, determined to complete that revolution that was begun back then, moved to give coherence, ideological coherence, organizational coherence, cohesion to the struggle for Black power, Black people. That's why we're here today. That's why all this work that we're doing here now, helping the people understand that we can do it ourselves. We don't have to be beggars, et cetera. And that's one of the reasons that we're a problem. So I wanted to say those things. And we're building here, come here, Jesse Todd, right here. That's the people's alderperson right there. He's supposed to be the alderperson from the 18th ward. And, Jesse Todd, he might get full of himself because we kind of love Jesse Todd in a very serious way. I mean, he has stood up and for the people of this community, and even we can't even get them to pick up the garbage. They don't pick up the garbage in the alleys in the Black community, right? But they work to get the police to come attack our houses. They watch the church get burned down and facilitate that. We can't even get the garbage picked up. Jesse Todd is the only person, he can't get the garbage picked. What he does is he goes out and pick up the garbage himself, work with the people in the community. He's had picket demonstrations and stuff like that to try to get the city to pick up the garbage. The other thing he's done is to try to get the city to disengage with the FBI. He took before what committee is that, Jesse? Public Safety Committee of the Board of Alderpersons, a resolution, a Dred Scott Sanctuary City resolution that resolved that the city of St. Louis, having done this horrible stuff with Dred and Harriet Scott, that turned them over to the feds after they thought they had escaped slavery and got here, and that resulted in the statement from Taney. What was that statement? That a Black man's got no rights that a white man has to respect. That came from the Supreme Court. And I said, this is the law that we're talking about. The law, the Supreme Court said that, right? And dealing with that. And so Jesse Todd presented a resolution. Say, this is what we need the board to pass on. That the city of St. Petersburg, city of St. Louis will become a sanctuary city, a refuge city. It's the Dred Scott sanctuary city resolution. And that the city of St. Louis will refuse to participate with any FBI or federal government attacks on Black persons and people who and organizations involved in trying to uplift the Black community. That's all. Carry out the Constitution. Todd did that. And he ran into a whirlwind of fecal matter. But he stood toe to toe and he fought for that resolution. That's what Jesse Todd did. That's the kind of movement that we have. That it's not some movement that's underground, that's doing stuff that people can't see. Took it right there to their process, to the board. Of course, they did all kinds of things not to deal with it. One other thing, we are engaged in now in forming a St. Louis Black Community Convention. This city has succeeded in splitting up the African community and keeping it split up. In some ways, the wars play a function in that. But the people need to be free. People need to be able to feed, clothe, house ourselves, need to have programs that deal with the contradictions that we're faced with, need to have economic development, need to have healthcare, need to have ability to deal with the police and all these other things. So we are organizing and had organized a St. Louis Black Community Convention that was to happen on what was that, August something? They attacked us right before the convention. That was part of the reason they attacked us, because we were bringing the Black Community Convention. Well, it ain't over. We're building this Black Community Convention. We're having a process where people can come together and talk about a main resolution that defines the contradiction, the problem that Black people have, and give us an opportunity to take it before the people and give the people an opportunity to go in workshops and come out with our own agenda to solve the problems that afflict our community. So I just wanted to say those things, and also just restate my appreciation for these comrade lawyers who are going to be with us, fighting with us in this case, and also restate the recognition that this is not about crime, law. We ain't committed no crimes, and the crimes were committed against us. And at best, what you're going to see is, if anything, something that they have to manufacture. They got to go to the same laboratory that they use to create crack cocaine. They're going to have to go to that same lab to create some kind of crime that we were supposed to have committed. And so we didn't commit any crime. We are not guilty even of the stuff they said we did. Even if we believe that we should have a right to be associated with anybody we want to associate in the world. And we do believe that we didn't commit a crime. We are not agents of Russia. And Comrade Mweze said that they are attacking us because they think that we are influenced by Russian thoughts or Russian ideas. No. They think that Russia is in charge of us. They think we sold ourselves to Russia. We've been fighting slavery for 600 damn years. We don't want to be anybody's slave. We want to be a free people. We will not voluntarily become a slave to Russia anymore, man, we were to Joe Biden. The fact is that we say that we are our own liberators. As African people, we have a responsibility to our children, our future, and those people who came before us fighting against this social system. So it's a lie. That's all I want to say. It's a lie. And I know that you agree with that, and I know that you're on board with this. And so every Sunday, we're going to be here. And part of what we'll be using every Sunday meeting for is to build for the St. Louis Black Community Convention. So this community can express its own opinion. That's the thing that they abhor. That's the thing they do not want. They do not want a coherent community that can speak with one voice. This is what we want. This is where we're going. And if you run for office and you double cross the community, like these forces have done, we saw people play off the rebellion that happened in Ferguson. They so-called activists and what have it happened in Ferguson. And one Negro was an activist because he stood between the people and the police. What the hell is that? He wasn't on anybody's side. Of course, he's doing prison time now because they said he was taking bribes and stuff, et cetera. And it's not hard. I can kind of believe it. I noticed one thing, and I'm going to sit down. They have not charged any of these people who they've locked up. They've locked up 3 Africans who were in city government recently. They've implied there are at least 2 more Africans who are in government who are guilty of the same thing. But the thing that's really interesting about it for me, and people say, well, the FBI come to get them, they come to get you. What's the difference? The difference is that these Negroes can't claim that these Negroes was trying to do something for Black people. They say we're going to do this to them because they tried to do something for Black people. Not a single one of them was accused of trying to do something for Black people. And that's the difference. And they use flashbang grenades against them either at 5 o'clock in the morning. So appreciate you, comrades. And I'm sorry I took so long. This is my lawyer, y'all.
Hands up, Uhuru.
Hands up, Africa. Hands up, Uhuru. There you go. Hands off Chairman Omali Yeshitela.
Hands up.
Let me find out where I was. Comrades, we're here. This is a fundraiser because these wonderful people gotta get paid. Yeah. Because they got a big job. Not only did they attack the Uhuru movement, they attacked all of Africa because that's who we're working for. Yeah. All right. Now, I want to say that I have made my donation. I've made a $200 donation. Mm-hmm. I'm about to bring Comrade Rage and Comrade Mweze up to take you through the process. And I want to put out a challenge. I'm going to challenge anybody that can meet my donation. Uhuru.
All right. Yeah, you want to take this, comrade, before I knock this over? Uhuru. All right. Come on up, Comrade Rage. Yes. You gonna bring the fire? Right on. Well, can I be heard just from where I'm at right here? Okay. Uhuru. Well, Uhuru, comrade. Uhuru. Well, this is the part of the program where everybody gets a chance to participate. And we just, like Comrade Fofid said, we want to just take a moment to just salute and appreciate everybody who has donated thus far in our program.
Let's give it up.
Yes.
Come on.
So we had a goal of raising $1,000. And you know what? We had to kind of bump up that goal because we're already surpassed. Yeah. So I don't know about you, Comrade Rage. I think we should bump it up to like 2,000.
Man, I think we can push it.
All right, well,
push it. Let's go.
All right, well, let's do it. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So first, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible supporters who have contributed to this urgent drive for us to be able to raise these legal funds. So we want to thank Fofi for her $200 donation.
Thank you, Fofi. We got $500 from Redbeard. Let's go, Redbeard. $60 from John.
Uhuru John.
What is that? $50 from Rosemary. We got $30 from MQ. Wendy, she says $50. Leah with $100. Lati with $250.
Thank you, Lati.
Lazario with $20.
Uhuru. All right, and then we have and then one more from Comrade Lisa for $20.
Yes.
Uhuru. So right now, this puts us at $1,280 raised.
Yes.
So that leaves us with, somebody help me out. $720 left to go.
Thank you, Comrade.
Yes.
And everyone who gives over $1,000 will be receiving a Hands Off Uhuru t-shirt or a sweatshirt. And we're gonna send everybody a thank you card and sticker, regardless of what amount you donate, because we really appreciate y'all participating in this fight back.
Uhuru. And we have another $25 donation from Comrade Len.
Hey,
so thank you, Len.
Let's go, Len.
Uhuru. So that gives us 695 more to go. So I want to appreciate everybody and remind you to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate to make your donation. And I see a hand right here, Alderman Jesse Todd. Hey, Alderman Jesse Todd. Thank you, Comrade Uhuru. All right, so that takes us to 595 left to go to raise our goal.
Yes, so this is our collective commitment. Everyone who made the decision to attend the event today understands the urgency to not only mobilize, but to leave this event $2,000 closer to funding the ability of the African People's Socialist Party to wage this fight back against the colonial state and put the FBI on trial. Yes. Let's make this commitment together that we will leave this event $2,000 closer. So once again, head on over to handsoffuhuru.org/donate and make your pledge or donate today.
Uhuru. Thank you, Comrade. And I just wanted to say, I know we're going to continue here, but you know,
this is 100.
Hey, right on, Chairman. Uhuru. So how much left do we have to left to go, Rage? That makes 400.
Yeah, $495 left. That's all we need, and I know that we can do it, y'all. We have to invest in our own liberation. Yeah. Ain't nobody gonna come and save us. It's up to us to fund this fight back. It's up to us to ensure that no matter what happens, we keep this movement going strong. Right. And it's up to us. We just have to do it. And we're doing it right now. By creating a people's movement to fund this fight back, we're undermining the US government FBI objectives, which are to take Chairman Omali Yeshitela and other Uhuru leaders like Director Akili, like Onazane Yeshitela, the deputy chair, like Comrade Jesse Neville, like Chairwoman Penny, the leaders in our movement who are in the streets working to overturn this whole system that consistently oppresses and abuses African people.
They want to leave this movement in a state of disarray and chaos and force the party to divert resources away from the incredible programs that have been building Black power and self-determination right here on the ground for the community of North St. Louis.
We're not gonna let that happen.
Yeah, we ain't letting no one touch the chairman. That's right.
Right, and we want to appreciate Casey, who said that's not gonna happen. So Casey gave a $10 donation.
Yes.
Thank you, Casey. Uhuru, comrades, and as we said, we have our legal team that has, that has been assembled here, and we can see today that we are preparing and will prepare to go to trial to fight and to win should indictments come down, as we know they are imminent. But again, we are here today to say that the FBI will not succeed in that goal. They will not succeed, and the party is moving forward with all of its programs, building the Black Power blueprint, as you've seen here, building the African Revolution worldwide. And our commitment is that, as we have been saying, not one penny will go towards building the capacity for our African people to be able to have the ability to feed, clothe, and house ourselves.
That's right.
That will not be spent elsewhere. Uhuru.
Hey, right on, comrade.
Uhuru.
So that's 395 left to go.
Right on.
Let's keep it going, comrades.
And you know what? What we're seeing here is the people, as Comrade Rage has said, the people funding this legal fight back. With every dollar that you donate towards the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Defense campaign, you are literally putting your handprint on this historic moment and on this victory that will go down in history. So I want to be a part of that. So I'm going to put down I'm going to make a $50 donation today towards this fight back.
Let me see what I got in my pocket. All right, I got something. I know I do. Okay, hold on. I got something.
All right,
I got $40. That's what I'm gonna put on it, y'all.
Yeah, 40 from Range. Right on, comrade. And we're gonna get our total pretty soon here from Comrade Amanda, and that was a $100 pledge from me because I can't make it right now, but I will make that pledge when I get back to my seat. So, and you can make a pledge today too if you're unable to make a donation, but either way, you want to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. Uhuru. All right, we have 185 left to go.
Let's go, come on.
So let's go ahead and bring it in. And I just wanted to say that, one thing that we didn't talk about in this particular rally, but that has been, kind of the theme over the past week or so, was the economic sanctions that have been put upon the movement. And it's important to know that, the FBI and, Regions Bank and every other institution that we've been talking about has been a part of this attack, waging this attack against the African People's Socialist Party. They know that they can't touch us because as we said, we've done nothing, okay? They know that they have to find other ways to cripple us. You look at countries around the world, crippling somebody economically is another tactic. It's just another tactic. And that's what we're experiencing right now. And so this event is so important. Just again, another tool of COINTELPRO and counterinsurgency to crush this liberation struggle. So we have to understand that what we're doing right now is not only are we telling them that you can go ahead and try to do what you want to do, but not only will we be in the face of Regions Bank, but we're going to raise the resources today, the 185 left, and we have a $40 donation from Diane.
Somebody just said, Robert said $500, y'all. So that is $2,405, y'all. Hey. Oh, Janet just said $200.
Well, you know what?
$200 from Janet.
So Janet with the T, right?
Yes.
So I heard Janet. Yes. So that takes us to $2,605.
Yeah.
I think it's only makes sense that we do raise the goal.
I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm not really good with math, but I think that's closer. It's like the,
Come on. Yo,
right,
what is that? $400 more. Let's go.
Chairman said they want to move the goalpost. We're gonna move the goalpost, right? I see Comrade Angelica. Two. Really want to appreciate Comrade Angelica for just your stance and everywhere you're at, all the events. I mean, I just can't say enough about you, Comrade. So Uhuru everywhere. So that takes us to $2,605 raised. Nope. Oh,
No.
plus, yeah, $2,805
Yeah.
raised. Okay, it's still calculating. So that,
Oh my gosh.
all right, I see you. John, who is an unindicted co-conspirator by proxy of Jeffrey. By blood.
Yes, that's $2,905, y'all.
So we are $95 away from reaching our new goal. Hey. What is your name? Thank you, Kevin. Uhuru, right on, comrade. All right.
Oh,
and let's go ahead and
we
just
got
split the
another
rest.
$50 from Tara, and MQ sent and another $18.
Great. So we are getting our grand total.
$3,073. Sorry, I'm excited.
All right, well, I don't know what other way to close this fabulous appeal by saying, continue to donate, but we just tripled our goal. And this is a profound statement by the people. So salute to you all. Uhuru.
$20 from Ryan, $20 from Chimarenga.
Yeah. Uhuru. All right.
Oh,
hey,
I'm kidding.
Uhuru. Uhuru, comrades. So
did that.
Yeah, we did that. We did that. So continue to support this fight back in every way. We're going to expect this to be on the ground as well. But today we made a very profound statement. So I just really want to salute the people. Uhuru.
What did he say?
All right now. St. Louis, well, Missouri is called the show me state. Did we show you? Okay, comrades, you know, the morning of the raid, I was just dumbfounded. Chairman and DC asked me, they say, what's wrong, Foots? I was speechless because something like that could happen in this place that I've been raising my children, that I went to school, that I, you know, settled my life. Something like that so distasteful could happen in front of my eyes. I said, this is stuff you see on TV, you know, happening in another country, some other place, but here. But you know what? They jumped first. Now it's on. It's on. Every time I tell somebody what happened, they say, look like they picked on the wrong people. They picked on the right people. Yeah. Like Chairman said, we're gonna fight. And thank you, Kevin. Yeah. Now it is time for us to hear from the solidarity statements. I will bring them up one by one, and you got 2 to 3 minutes to let us know how much you're with us. And the first person to come up is the People's Alderman, Jesse X.
I don't even like these presidents, anybody else. I'm gonna give all of my money. I'm gonna get rid of these presidents. Uhuru, comrades. Uhuru, to the chairman, to Achille, to the Penny, Jesse Devil, and all our African People's Socialist Party, Uhuru people, to Baruti, to Sophia, Sophia, and I've been been working together in many different capacities. So, and to all our friends who are here today, all of the friends of the Uhuru Movement, African People's Social Party, the Solidarity Committee. Look at, I'm with the movement 100%. I'm with them with money. This is not the last $100 I'm gonna give. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm just be giving some $100. And also I'm gonna be giving some time. And we need to give all the resources that we can give. Because this is not just a fight against the African People's Socialist Party. This is a fight against all of us. It's a fight against all the people of goodwill. It's a fight, and then the FBI, and none of them, they don't tell us, they're not supposed to tell us what to do. They're not supposed to be above the law. They're supposed to be, they swore to uphold the law. And they were totally in violation of the law, because the federal law is supposed to be the highest law in the land. And they up there holding people for 6 hours and stuff. And when you're not supposed to even hold a person, you're supposed to issue one and keep going. So that's just freedom of speech, freedom of association. But we haven't ever been treated the same. African people since the day Portugal attacked Africa more than 600 years ago, we've never been treated like other people. We were not, then when we got on the ship, we wasn't treated the same. The white people came on one type of ship, we came tied down. And then once we got in, the white people had 7 years, we got life. Then when we got out, we had to have all of these bills. Then the 13th Amendment supposed to freedom, the 14th Amendment made us citizens. Then the 15th Amendment gave men, and I want to emphasize, since this is Women's History Month, gave men the right to vote, which was a sellout by the people who compromised. There should be no compromise. All people should have had the right to vote then. But Africans were attacked then, and I brought that up because Black women are women too. When the 19th Amendment, when the amendment was passed for white women, for women to vote, I know in the South where I was born, Black women could not vote. So the point is that we've always been treated bad, and since this is Black History Month, Black women have been treated worse. And so Black women must lead. Black women must lead, because the most oppressed people must lead. And that's the working class, the working class people must lead. They must lead on the working class socialist government. Capitalism will not solve, it won't solve the class, it won't solve the gender problem. It won't solve the environmental problem. It won't solve the people of the same love of the same gender problem. It won't solve the class problem. In fact, let me be crystal clear, and then I'm gonna sit down. We don't have a choice. We have socialism, or we won't have the earth as we know it today. Bottom line, I'm with the movement 100%. Thank you.
The People's Alderman. Our next solidarity statement will come from Comrade Zaki Baruti.
Excuse me. Uhuru, power to the people, Black power. Excuse me, I'm just getting here, coming from a rally, which we've been outside a couple hours. So I'm still chilled on the inside, but I'm here because of my commitment to stand shoulder to shoulder with the Uhuru movement. Hands off Uhuru. Let me say that we had, and let me just share, I just came from this rally when my good brother Jesse Todd made mention, this is this is Women's Month. that we stood in solidarity with Kim Gardner. Because as a Black woman who had the audaciousness to go after the elected Republican governor, Ed Griden, they're after her. She had the audaciousness to say that I'm gonna develop an exclusionary list of officers who have a record of racism. She has the audacity to say that I'm not gonna just be locking up Black people who are first nonviolent offenders and part of the mass incarceration that takes place in America. So that's where I was at.
Yeah.
But as soon as that rally ended, here I am.
Right.
And I'm here because it's a damn shame that this country continues to oppress our people. It's time in this historic time that we be free.
Yeah.
And the only way that we can be free is that we have to have unity.
Yeah.
And we have to have unity and solidarity with those who have a proven track record. Chairman and the African People's Socialist Party has that track record. It's an indictment on anybody that does not stand in solidarity with the movement. So I'm here just to say, brother, like from the very first day, you know, when they attack you, and I always share this.
Yeah.
My first organizing into the community was upon the assassination and the murder of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, led by the FBI and the Chicago Police Department.
Yeah.
They want to do the same thing, but we saying, hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no. Hell no.
Hell no.
And we have to understand at this crossroads, as they move on the Uhuru movement, as they moving on Kim Gardner, they drawing the line tight. And the tightness of the line is, where do you stand in the moment of history? Will you be a man or a mouse? Will you be a woman or a mouse? I say that we don't have victory.
Yes.
We don't have victory.
Yes.
And we'll have victory. And lastly, excuse me again, I always like to use when growing up, used to look at the old Dracula movies.
Yeah.
Because we got some bloodsuckers.
Yeah.
Bloodsuckers
Yeah.
that need to be put to rest.
Well.
And in the old Dracula movies, what did they do to get rid of Dracula? They had that stake and they nailed that stake into the heart of Dracula.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do for capitalism,
Yeah.
imperialism. But we have to understand it's no easy task. This is real war.
Yeah.
This ain't no play game.
Yeah.
It ain't no play game. So with that, I just wanted to, I'm still so chilled inside, but I'm just saying that for the revolution, like it just takes me back to Lenin and the Bolshevik Revolution in the cold winter.
Yeah.
Hell, we got to do what we got to do. So I'm here with you, staying totally in solidarity. God bless you. Okay.
They also kill them by putting them in sunlight. So when you put the truth in the light, they will fall. I remember that, Chairman. Comrades, it is my pleasure to bring to you Councilman Charles Barron.
Uhuru comrades, I want to bring you greetings from New York City. Operation Power is solidly behind the chairman and the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru Movement. We are solidly behind them also with the December 12th movement. And there are many New Yorkers, many organizations in New York who are with you in this movement. You know, this is a great time to be alive because we're witnessing the demise of capitalism.
Yeah.
Just looking at and reading about the failure of the Silicon Valley Bank. And that's one of the biggest banks in America. It is failing, it is collapsing along with capitalism. So what they tried to do is give you the perception of invincibility, or they try to launch major attacks on you so that we can be diverted from the fact that they are dying. Capitalism is collapsing. I used to think it was going to take generations, but this bad boy is going to happen in this generation. We're going to see the fall of capitalism and the rise of the African Socialist Party and African working class throughout this world. So I am honored to be on today here in New York City. We see a lot of light being shedded on the administration here, the Mayor Cop Adams. People are coming out more and more against him. I'll be meeting with some clergy so I can show them the budget on how, in fact, that our $102.7 billion budget is still maintaining poverty because it's a colonial capitalist structure that's creating the poverty. We don't need more cops, we need more jobs. We don't need more prisons. We need more liberation centers for our people so that we put the final nail in the coffin of capitalism. So I'm excited today. We are definitely with the Hands Off Uhuru movement. We're going to continue to make financial commitments to that movement. We're looking forward to coming to you on April 7th, 8th, 9th, to be a part of the electoral school, the radical electoral school. So we just need really, in a sense, and I know it's hard to do, but we should be celebrating because all of this is the sign of the demise of capitalism. Kwame Nkrumah wrote a book called Neo-Colonialism, the last stage of imperialism. So when you see Blacks put in high places, just think about the Blacks that were put in high places in African countries after the Europeans left, and then neo-colonialism took its place, and even that's dying on the continent, and it's dying here in the States. So I'm honored to be on the side of the winning movement, the winning side. I like winning. I like winning. There's something so beautiful about winning. It makes you wake up more energetic. So when I wake up, the first thought on my mind is we are winning. And how can I accelerate that victory? When I go to sleep at night, I have visions of winning. And how can I accelerate the victory of winning? So on behalf of my wife and the love of my life, my African queen, Inez Barron, and all of the brothers and sisters in Operation Power, we say hands off the Uhuru movement. And you better not touch the chairman, better not touch his wife, because if you do, the children of Malcolm X, the children of Toussaint Louverture, the children of Shaka Zulu, the children of Queen Nzinga will be coming for you, and will be coming in a very serious manner. And guess what? This is not just empty rhetoric. The reality is you're losing, we are winning, and ultimately we will win. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru. Now, we have one more solidarity statement from Robert Saburi from the Green Party.
All right.
Come on up.
You need a no. I'm gonna hide behind. Uhuru, everyone. So Robert put me on the spot because he couldn't make it. Yeah, should I say why? You know, okay, I'm gonna say his wife is out of town and he has to babysit. So, what I first wanted to say, I mean, you know, the Green Party has been standing in solidarity with, the African People's Socialist Party ever since those attacks came down. And we've been participating in the March for Reparations, and we stand for reparations for African people and for the self-determined decision of, how to use those, what you think, what resources are needed in what place. So we, fully support all that. What I wanted to say is, as a radical Green Party member who was a co-founder of the Green Party in Germany, I really appreciated your image, that you were using, Chairman, of the butterflies. So, the Green Party likes butterflies. So not everybody in the Green Party likes these kind of butterflies, but still we do. Okay, so so since I did not have a chance to prepare anything, what I wanted to say is, when those so we got on board once when those attacks, those military style attacks happened, and when we heard of the looming indictments, we got together and passed a statement in solidarity, and that was on December 23rd, actually, when we had a meeting and agreed upon this as Green Party. And I just want to read this real quick. Oh, and I want to say, this is also in connection with an article that Don Fitz wrote a little later, which was published in Green Social Thought. And you can find greensocialthought.org. You can find that article when you go to the second page, because it's already a while back. This article was reprinted in a lot of, online magazines all over the world, actually. So it really got some good publicity, and we appreciate that it helped spread the word. So I just want to read the statement real quick, which is part of that article, which we decided upon on December 23rd, 22. The Green Party of St. Louis fully agrees with the right of African people to advocate and organize for the unification, liberation, and self-determination of Africa and African people, as laid out in the principles of unity that you kind of wanted us to support. The FBI raid of July 29th was not just against the African People's Socialist Party. It was an attack on all working for social justice and liberation. As has happened many times before, the governmental violence was unleashed first against Black and, or rather African victims to serve as example. The Biden administration is fully responsible for opening one of the most repressive eras in US history. We would have to go back to the racist President Woodrow Wilson and his imprisonment of Eugene Debs, who I don't even know who that is, to find a case of, that comes from Don Fitz, he's our outreach coordinator, and he always, writes those statements. And his imprisonment, the imprisonment of Eugene Debs, to find a case of people being arrested so blatantly for their political beliefs. Even during the US war against Vietnam, people were not arrested merely for listening to Vietnamese views or visiting North Vietnam. And here he makes this, relation to the accusations of being a Russian agent and, getting what you stand for from Russia. The current actions of the Biden administrations are a message that no one can question. Okay, hold on. The current actions of the Biden administrations are a message that no one can question his proxy war against Russia. Oh yeah, that you're not supposed to be questioning this. A message that Americans have lost the right to make their own decisions, and that's what gives it an importance beyond, the immediate accusation of, being an agent of the Russians. The event of July 29, 22 are meant to intimidate any who stand in solidarity with movements and countries who are struggling for their liberation, such as Cuba. They are warning that the same could happen to supporters of revolutionary Venezuela. The FBI raids are a threat to those who defend the right of Nicaragua to chart its own course. indictments of Uhuru members aid and abet those criminals who overthrew the democratically elected government in Peru on December 7th, 22. Did I understand this right? Okay. Biden's proxy war against Russia gives light to his supposed opposition to climate change. One of the real reasons for Biden's hate Russia campaign is to allow US corporations to corner the market of fossil fuels in Ukraine and force Europe to buy US natural gas at absurdly high prices. Under Evo Morales in Bolivia sought to control its own lithium, a critical element for alternative energy. When he was violently overthrown, the Trump-Biden supporters, Elon Musk of Tesla, proclaimed, "We will coup wherever we want." The great majority of the world's cobalt, also essential for so-called alternative energies, lies in the Democratic Republic of Congo, home to many other essential minerals. Efforts of the Biden administration to destroy the APSP reveals his plan for anyone who advocates self-determination for Africa. And then come the principles of unity, which I think don't have to repeat, kind of that we denounce the FBI attacks, that we demand, that the US drop all charges, that we demand the return of all confiscated property. We demand an end of FBI surveillance and infiltration, and we denounce the assault on anti-colonial activity and programs of the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru Movement, such as the Black Power Blueprint and other economic institutions and projects. So this article was called, Two Barrels Aim at the African People's Socialist Party. And those two barrels are, one is this political, avenue, and the other is this economic that has already been talked about, how it diverts funds and tries to destroy the economic the capacity to build, So solidarity from the Green Party of St. Louis.
Uhuru comrades, I'm calling Comrade Rage up. Fist up. Fist up. Hands off, Uhuru. Thank you so much. Come on, comrade, we got to do announcement. Oh, I'm sorry. I called you up a little early. Okay. Comrade Mwezi is coming up with questions. Is there questions in the house for the lawyers? Then I will turn it over to Mwezi with online questions.
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions online. So thank you, Fofi. Uhuru, so, and these questions can be for the for our lawyers, but also for the chairman as well. So the question that we have here is, says Uhuru, this is from Molefi, Comrade Molefi on Zoom. He says, I just want to ask if it,
South Africa, right?
Molefi is in, I believe he's in South Africa. Yes, right? Okay, I'm seeing noddings, Uhuru. Thank you, Chairman. So he says, I just want to ask if it's possible to have the co-conspirators outside while being indicted.
Yes.
Yep, okay, they understand.
Not in jail. Correct. Not in jail.
Yes, okay. Okay, so to clarify, if indicted, you don't have to be locked up. Is that what we're trying to say? Can you want to clarify? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are options to not be in jail.
Oh, wait, actually. Yeah, you want to come up? Oh, because the camera. Thank you, Akili.
Yes, we've been working with the U.S. attorney and asking for what we call a self-surrender, and to be able to come in and self-surrender and have a date where you can appear versus being attacked and having to go through the process that way. And then we do anticipate at that time that bonds will be given, or your pretrial release detention status will be addressed. And it is our hope and it appears that the U.S. attorney will not be asking for your incarceration during the pendency of the case. We can't guarantee that. He can't guarantee that yet. This is all speculative. We don't know exactly what will be requested and what won't, but there's definitely a very strong possibility that you will be able to remain free as we go through the process. Anything else?
We should be free. We should do this.
Chairman. All right, I see some hands in the audience. Go ahead, Comrade Zaki Barudi, and then Angelica.
Can I come on?
Yeah, you, oh yes, you know what, you'll have to come up. Is that, or we have a mic coming around for the questions?
Also Marissa.
And Marissa as well? Okay, where's Comrade Marissa? Uhuru Marissa. All right, so Comrade Zaki, do you want to ask your question at the mic, please? Thank you.
My question, I think it's twofold. One, what is the, I mean, say by their system, they're found guilty. What is the penalty? I mean, you know, and exactly what would be the charges?
The charge that right now is conspiracy to pretty much like work with a foreign agent. And that's without registering, correct. And so the maximum penalty that we've seen as far as what we expect is 5 years is maximum penalty. And so the federal government, they use sentencing guidelines in order to determine pretty much like what the suggested sentence would be. And that's it's a lot of things that go into those guidelines, including like criminal history, whether you cooperate, don't cooperate, whether you go to trial, don't go to trial, whether you testify at the trial, not testify. They can add points up and down for that. From what I saw, if like somebody with no criminal history, pretty much no added points anywhere, it's somewhere around like 9 to 10 months as the like the guideline range on that. Like I want to say like 9 to 14 months. I think it's the guideline range on that.
My final question, I'm sorry. Since the raid took place here in St. Louis, which court would they have to go somewhere else, or would it be here?
It's the Middle District of Florida. So it'll be, we expect it to be in Tampa. It's the Middle District of Florida. Because they're saying that the activities took place in the Middle District and other places as well. So they could pick the court.
Yeah, I have a question regarding the impact of those indictments. I mean, what does this do actually, you know, once you are indicted, how does it restrict your liberty to go places or to do certain things and to get you revoked into a prison or something, you know?
That's a good question. So as far as like pretrial goes, pretrial detention, it can range from you're incarcerated until the case is resolved. It can be on some type of home detention, GPS monitoring until the case is resolved. And a lot of times it's usually just don't get in trouble. We'll take your passport and stay. Usually it stay within that the jurisdiction of the court. But knowing that they live in St. Louis, most likely to say you can't leave, you know, the St. Louis area unless you're coming down to court in the Middle District. So it'll be some restrictions on that. And of course, they'll take the passport so they can't leave the country.
Yes, I was wondering, what's the track record of somebody being convicted of this particular charge? Is it really, has anybody been convicted? Because I think this is just a form of intimidation.
I mean, I'm sure they've charged it before. I haven't looked to see. I'm not sure if you all have looked to see if other cases similar to this.
Uhuru, I don't know what the track record is. I just want to follow up with what Mutaki said. There are two charges that the indictment mentioned. One's a 371, which is a regular conspiracy charge, just a general conspiracy charge, getting together to do any kind of commit fraud against the U.S. government or could do some injury to the U.S. government. It's a 371. It has a 5-year cap. They convict people of conspiracy all the time in federal court. there's a 951, it has a 10-year cap. And that is the government agent working with a foreign government agent or as an agent of a foreign government. I'm not sure what the track record is on that, but I'm sure that 371, they people of general conspiracy against the government all the time, like tax fraud, what have you. So that's the charge that the government convicts all the time.
There has been most recently a conviction of a brother that with the Hebrew Israelites working with the Zimbabwe government.
Okay.
Gregory Taylor.
Okay.
For not registering with the government.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Thank you.
I just have a comment. I think it's a, I understand, I think it's a damn shame that we are taxpayers have to fight. Spend money on something like this. I mean, you know what I mean? You got to do it. But that we are American citizens, supposedly, and we got to paying taxes. They're fighting against us. So I just want to say.
Yep. Right on. Thank you for your comment. Uhuru, well, we are trying to be expeditious with our time. We have one more question here on the ground, one more online, and then we're gonna move set. So go ahead.
I guess it's not as much a question, as sort of a question or a comment, but I know I believe and know in my heart that these charges are totally trumped up, bogus, and attack on the Uhuru movement, and that they're all innocent. So I guess my question is that with a lot of normal cases in a normal situation, the lawyers just tell their clients to just shut up and stay quiet. Obviously, this is a very special situation. So I kind of just wondered if you had a comment on, how this is different and what makes it special in the sense that, we are speaking out loud about it and kind of talking about the legal strategy before the case,
We'll go tell the chairman that same thing.
This is the most effective strategy in this type of situation.
No. We're in a situation that we don't have control of that. You have decided the strategy. We're here to back you up and defend that and fight that.
Yes.
But, that doesn't mean that's the best thing to do.
I just want to say this, Uhuru. I haven't heard, I don't think all of us would tell our clients who are not guilty to say they're not guilty. I mean, I didn't do it. I mean, that's a plea that we make in court, not guilty. I don't think that the chairman or anybody else, Jesse, Penny or Akile said anything more than that. They're not guilty. And if maybe they've expressed and expounded on the details of the fact that they're not guilty and why, but saying that you're not guilty has always been all right. So I don't think the chairman is doing anything more than that.
Okay. Uhuru, thank you for that question.
Mayor.
Yes, Chairman.
I think it's also important that if we conclude that we haven't committed a crime, then we have to conclude that it's a political attack.
Yes.
If it's a political attack, the law is not the fundamental question.
Right.
Public opinion is. And if they can create and contaminate public opinion, they can create this image of this further group that's out there somehow working for the Russians against the real American people. Then we're convicted. We're convicted in a court, even according to law, they will be able to do that just based on contaminating public opinion. I just think it's so important for us to be transparent and let the world see that this is a trumped up charge because it's political. They're not relying on law. They can't, that's why they're offering $10 million to somebody to come and snitch and say they can find something on us. They took all of our resources, all of our computers, cell phones, things like that. They got every text, every email that I've sent over years. They've got stuff on video with conferences and webinars that we've done. So they got all of that stuff and they're still saying we give $10 million to somebody who will come and snitch. So you can turn on the guy in Russia. They ain't gonna convict nobody in Russia. They're not, they can indict they want to. They are not going to St. Petersburg, Russia, like they went to St. Petersburg, Florida to deal with a Russian. So it's a political question. And so we got to fight this political case in court.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, it's good to have these incredible lawyers standing on our side, but we also have to fight it out of the court because that's where they're making their fight, out of the court. There's this further group out there that's working for the Russians to try to harm American elections and do things like that. That's why I think we have to point out, you know, what this case is all about and be transparent as hell and show the people who we are.
Yes.
I think that's the thing that undermines their ability to do what they want to do with that. I appreciate the advice that we get from lawyers, you know, what I mean, I really, really, really do. I just think that, again, that is not just the law. They will use the law to do it. And if that law doesn't work, and we've seen it in my lifetime, I've seen laws change over and over again. So, you know, you even what this thing they call, you don't have to speak until you got a lawyer. What the Miranda's, they don't have to do that anymore. They even changed the presumption of guilt. What is all of that about? You know, that the lawyer cop can stop you and justify doing it based on some kind of presumption. They've even changed what that means. So they change it. They change the goalposts on us all the time. And they contaminate public opinion. That's why this whole notion, that's one thing that makes it so insidious for us. This notion that's, because I'm talking about how America, white people think about Black people is one of the things that we're up against right now. That's why it's important to show who we are, what we do, etc. And also to assault this notion that Black people are so backwards that it takes somebody who they call white to come and tell us what to do. Right. We can't lay down for that, and we have to use this thing to advance the struggle. So no matter what the hell happens to me, any of us, the outcome of this, that the struggle has to be advanced as opposed to something that can hurt this movement. That's what we stand for. Otherwise, we don't even have a basis for calling you to support. Can't even call you to support unless that's what it is you're fighting. Because I can't call you to fight just based on some legal thing, because the law is not the issue that's here. Who we are, what we stand for, what we do, Black power, Black people, Paul Robeson, W.E.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, all of these people who were doing more or less the same thing we're doing. And for the years that we've been doing this, don't you know it's crazy? They know it's crazy. They've been investigating me since the 1960s, before they invented the Russian thing. What I've been doing, what we've been doing, it doesn't make any sense. It seems to me that it becomes absolutely necessary, should be, for them to show something different than we're doing since 2014, when they said the Russians took charge of us, than what we were doing in the 1960s. What's the difference now?
Right.
And the difference now is they got a crisis on their hands. Yes. And this is a political issue that we have to deal with, and we've created this magnificent process now, where all over this country, you've got white people now working in the white community, standing up, and they can't come at us as easily as they used to be in the past. So I think that's part of what we're looking at, and Motaki was right.
Yeah. I can't tell the chairman. Exactly. Uhuru Chairman. Yes, go ahead, Addie.
I think it's also very important to remember that this is all speculative.
Yeah.
We're assuming that we're going to get these indictments. We're assuming that we're going to get these charges, and that's what the charges are going to be. But we don't know.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind when we're saying minimums, maximums, guidelines, sentencing, charges, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we believe going through everything you just said, all your documents, all your cell phones, and we don't know what the charges are going to be yet. So it's very, it's a difficult situation to be an attorney on a case where you don't know what the charges are and try to advise all of you as to what's going to happen and how. So just keep that in mind, that this is all speculative at this point.
And that's part of the significance and how insidious this unindicted co-conspirator thing is, because they haven't charged us with anything legally. So we don't have an stand to go to court and say, stop, because they haven't done anything. They haven't even named us. They've just made it clear to anybody who wants to know who it is that they're talking. Anybody who sees it, they know who they're talking about. So that's absolutely correct. But I also believe that the political question is fundamental. And Joe Biden and the Democratic Party shouldn't be able to get away with this. You understand? And I really think that it has to be dropped in the lap of Biden and the Democratic Party this coming election in 2024. As Biden is going to be the tough guy now to try to rid himself of the image of being Sleepy Joe and whatever else the hell he's got to contend with in 2024. I think that's a factor. I just think we have to go to work. And also, I really want to say that we can beat Regions back.
Yes.
Regions Bank doesn't have to get away what the hell they're doing to us. They have to pay a consequence. And when I say a consequence, I mean that we have the ability to take our money out of Regions Bank.
Yes.
And to encourage anybody who believes in justice and freedom not to cooperate with this institution of FBI, that they even got somebody from the FBI on their board. A Negro, by the way. So I think we have to fight.
Yeah.
And I think that fighting back, and this is one front of fighting back, we go to the court. When these lawyers, these incredible lawyers walk into a courtroom, the judge has to be made to consider what the hell all of the people around this country and around the world are doing and thinking and how we are acting. We've seen that happen before. Even before they could announce a verdict for O.J. Simpson, they delayed when they could do it and set up barricades and things like that. And O.J. Simpson wasn't in the movement, not connected to anything, but they assumed that his popularity with Black people made it necessary for them to act differently. And we've seen them do it in other cases. Don't announce the verdict yet. Set up the barricades, bring out the National Guards and whatever before you can even announce a verdict. And I believe that we got much more going for us than the Jews ever had going for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody said, talking about evidence and stuff like that, and I saw people really crying about this O.J. Simpson verdict. How could he get away, these white people? Well, all of the evidence they had. What has evidence made a damn difference in a court for Black people? Right. And that's the thing that we are aware of, and Black people know that too. And so Black people can say, turn the killer loose. Because that goes against some kind of deep moral thing. So Black people say he didn't do it. We saw the same thing to white people. He didn't do it. I believe he might have done it, and I believe if he knew the dog was going to talk, he would have killed him too. But that's another story.
Uhuru, Chairman. Uhuru, well, Chairman, you kind of answered one of the second half of the question from Comrade Molefi, which was your understanding about the Uhuru movement beyond the legal charges. So I just want to say that you really did you summarized that completely. And we have
the work in South Africa, Mulele, is extremely important. And you have to make that work happen. Because again, the United States is positing itself as this great democracy fighting against the autocracies of the world. Right. And we need a presence in South Africa, and especially after Biden has played this game about America and the original sin. Well, the original sin took me from where you are, Molefi, and that's part of the original sin that we are suffering right now. And they need to, Black people in South Africa need to know about this discussion and this struggle. And see it as part of what we're confronting all around the world.
Uhuru, Chairman, yes. Hopefully, Comrade Molefi, you heard that. And we got to build. And we got to build out in occupied Azania and everywhere that African people are. So, Uhuru. This next question is from Comrade Raya in Chicago. And Raya is asking, this is for the legal team, will there be people to testify for the defense? And I know you kind of explained that there's a lot of speculatives, but I'll just say the question and whatever we can address. Like witness testimony in person or by Zoom, wherever these hearings or trials occur. Maybe it's premature for that question, but.
Most likely it would be. If the question is in regards to like character witnesses, usually in the criminal trial, character witnesses don't come in until like the sentencing phase. So hopefully.
Come up here, right?
Okay.
Oh, okay, you have to come up here. I'm sorry.
I'll say most likely we will have witnesses if she's specifically referring to character witnesses, because that's usually what people ask about. Character evidence typically doesn't come in as testimony in the criminal trial. It will come in like in the sentencing phase if we got to that point, but hopefully we don't.
Uhuru, thank you, Attorney Mataki. And the last question is from Comrade Ann. It kind of speaks to the Regions Bank and them taking, she says, well, I'll say it, but we will have more to say about this at our next mass meeting, because we are planning some actions for the community to take. But she says, can they explain how the bank is able to call a loan due as they, as you know, they are forcing us to pay the remainder of the mortgage and the banks, of these loans. She says, I thought it was a contract. Can they explain? So I think that's an important question, but we may have more later. Yeah.
In order to answer that question, we would have to actually read the contracts, go over what the agreements were. And we can't answer that without knowing exactly what the agreements are, what the language in the contracts are.
Thank you. All right, well, that concludes our Q&A. So before we do, I just want to thank our attorneys one more time for your participation. And so you can look good in the courtroom, kicking the butt of, the state. We have some hands-off t-shirts for you, so.
Uhuru! The cops in your hood, the cops in my hood, don't arrest me. Don't arrest me. Uhuru. Now I will get Comrade Rage up here. We are going to do announcement quickly, and then we will put everybody, not put you out, but but we will take you, it's Karamu. Okay.
You want to tell them about Karamu?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess I will. Okay. Every week when we have Sunday rallies, we ask volunteers for certain Karamu. But you know what? We still got Karamu from this week because we had so much left from the convention, from the conference convention, that we're going to
it's
work
like a
it out.
buffet back there, man.
Yeah. But our next Sunday rally will be April 2nd. April 2nd, because of these announcements that we're about to have.
So you've heard us talk all weekend long about this incredible fight back, and now we have some ways that you can actively participate. We're asking that you sign the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa petition. Sign that saying that the FBI don't have no right interfering with our ability to build Black power and Black liberation. You can hold a fundraiser. Today was a fundraiser. You can organize, I don't know, a paint and sip, watch party, anything that you want to do to encourage your community to participate in this fundraiser for the legal defense of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the rest of the Uhuru Movement leaders, the so-called 4 unindicted co-conspirators. You can also sign up for the emergency response, get a text message notifying you if the FBI or the state makes any moves against the Uhuru movement. You can bring one of these speakers that you heard from this weekend to your community. You can also start a committee and organize on the ground where you are to build the capacity to join the fight back where you are.
If you are interested in being a member of the emergency response, hold your hand up and I will see you before you get Karamu. Is everybody already on an emergency response? Hey,
okay.
We
All
won.
right.
Okay.
So as we were saying, you can join a committee. We need project managers, people who are really good with social media, graphic designers to help us make propaganda, videographers, culture workers, poets, singers, storytellers, musicians, whatever your talent is, bring it to this fight back. We need event coordinators, help put together events like this one today. We need more assistance with our legal defense. And we need researchers to help research the law that the state is going to try to use against us. We also need help to build the Sunday rally. That is another way that you can actively participate in keeping this movement moving and grooving while we are fighting the state. You can organize the Caramoo with Fofi. You can help us clean up the auditorium before and after the Sunday rally. You can do outreach with us on the ground, passing out leaflets, flyers, hanging up posters, going door to door and talking to other people in our community. And you can also help provide security for these meetings.
Okay, that's me. I am a part of actually, I'll be the chair of the International Project Black organization, which is a part of APDEP, All African Peoples Development and Empowerment Project. All right, that's a mouthful, but what we do is a lot of work. Now, APDEP have 3 areas they work in: healthcare, gardening, and education. What we're doing is expanding Project Black to the point where we will be teaching people at this conference how to do emergency response and disaster preparedness. You will learn how to pack your bags with what you need. When they tell you you got to evacuate, grab your bag and go. You will learn if somebody has a bleeding area, how to pack that, because in 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, a person can just die from loss of blood. We will also have CPR and first aid. So with that being said, the conference is right here next Saturday and Sunday, the 18th and 19th. You can see me and I will make sure you be here. You can be here. If you're busy, we can get you online. And if you're available, get here so we can actually show you how to put hands on. And those that really want to do it, you can get a certificate in hands and stop the bleed. Because myself and Dr. King, we're now instructors. Uhuru. So it's easy to it's easy to call us before you call a Red Cross, because we're gonna be there first. So, because they're not coming to your neighborhood, okay? But it's better for you to learn how to do it. It's easy. They're teaching it to children out in Ladue, but they're not teaching it to the children in this neighborhood, okay? So let's take our education, our healthcare, and our gardening, because we gotta eat, into our own hands, because we are our own liberators.
Yes.
So we can stop each other from bleeding and dying, and we can take care of each other. And when they say evacuate, you can be the head of the pack with your bag and you ready to go. Next week.
All right, so the African National Women's Organization is holding its Black Women's Convention March 24th through the 26th right here at the Uhuru House in St. Louis. I'm so excited for this convention. We're gonna be having some incredible workshops about African women in prison systems. We'll be talking about our Arrest CPS campaign, a campaign established to expose the parasitic nature of child protective services. We'll be talking about our Uhuru Kijiji Child Care Collective, a program designed to take the childcare back into the Black community, and so many more incredible initiatives that are coming out of ANWO. And we also are establishing our headquarters right here at the national headquarters of the Uhuru. We got our building over on Natural Bridge that the Black Power Blueprint, has worked with us to help us get going. So we're so excited to be on the ground in the physical as ANWO. So make sure you come out to the Black Women's Convention.
I want to say about the Black Women's Convention is on Friday.
Yes.
23rd.
24th.
The 24th, they're having a women's poetry event.
Yes. Black Women's Open Mic.
Yes, Black Women's Open Mic. So yeah, be here, $5. And they're gonna feed you for the same $5 that you get in.
Get a plate and a chance to rock the mic. You don't want to miss it.
I have a new total. I want to let everybody know. Today we raised $3,333. The power of three.
Yeah, 3.
What else?
That's awesome.
I mean, what else do we have? No more.
We have the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market. This is our objective is to turn this power desert, as the chairman calls it, into a food oasis. We are putting the power back into the Black community's hands to feed ourselves, and we're bringing fresh, healthy produce to the Black community with this market, and also giving Black entrepreneurs a chance to build their business. So you guys don't want to miss this season. It's going to be in O'Fallon Park the first Saturday of the month. We're also going to have a couple extra markets on May 20th and our Halloween festival on October 28th. We have so much in store. Come on out to O'Fallon Park beginning May 6th for the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market.
I just want to say I had one of the vendors to call. I saw one of the vendors. She was here today. She's Comrade Kelly's mate. She said, I talked to Marissa and she is so nice. So we're going to have a really great market this year.
Yes, we have a great team. Shout out to Marissa as the market assistant. Shout out to Casey Mackey, the person who made that incredible slide, the person doing all of our promotions and helping us to organize outreach for the market. So just, it's going to be so good. Y'all got to come out. And then on May 14th, on Mother's Day, the African National Women's Organization and a coalition of Black-led organizations are going to the White House. We are demanding Black community control of child welfare. And this is an opportunity for families who've been impacted by the child welfare system to come together and let their voices be heard and demand that their children be returned. So make sure that you will go to blackmothersmarch.com and sign up to be with us in Washington, D.C. on May 14th.
Black is Back Coalition, the 7th Electoral Campaign School. Guess what it's gonna be? St. Petersburg, April 7th and through the 9th. You can register at tinyurl.com/BIB7TH. Comrades, this is an amazing school. I'm not running, but I'm gonna tell you, you got it in your mind that you want to get an inkling of running, run with the right equipment. And this BIB Electoral School can give you what you need to run all the way to the top.
Yeah.
And you can carry the liberation of African people with you.
Yes. And go to the Burning Spear. Purchase the Burning Spear, the longest running Black Power newspaper in the world, at theburningspear.store. Get you a copy today. It's only $1. It's $20 for a full subscription. This is how we take control of our narrative. We are the ones writing what goes into this newspaper. We're the ones reporting on what's going on in our communities. This is the only place you can get the truth about what is happening to African people. So go and get your subscription today. Grace is not here.
Grace had to leave. She was gonna be the last culture. But you know what? I think we've been here long enough. So with that being said, I'm bringing the chairman up. Okay, I've been asked to bless and release. Correct. Hands off Uhuru.
Hands off Africa.
Uhuru.
Hands off Africa.
Let's eat. Uhuru. Okay, this is yours. I don't know who's back there to get the food.